Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us this morning for Directs Education's book launch and webinar. This is for the Business and Accountancy programs. My name is Albert, and I will be your host for today. Now, this event is being streamed in 3 different platforms. So to our audiences in Facebook, YouTube, and our participants in Zoom, hello, and thank you for being with us this morning. Let us know how you feel by reacting and putting in your comments in our live streams. All right, of course, we are very excited to start with the learning, but before we do that, we would like to join everyone to be in the presence of Almighty Father for our opening prayer. This is going to be followed shortly by the singing of our Philippine national anthem.
In respectful presence of our brothers and sisters across boundaries and faiths, let us all join in prayer and worship and gratitude and for guidance. Almighty and eternal God, we thank you for the gift of life and all its joys. We thank you for today, for all its challenges, in all its splendor. We thank you for the gift of one another. O God of infinite mercy and wisdom, only in unity with your will can all our toils have true meaning. Transform us into willing and able stewards of this world and its future. Bring us together to work with understanding and compassion. As we toil and grow weary, we pray for renewed strength and resolve. As we experience pain and sorrow, let us be reminded of untold good beyond. As we see pain and suffering, let us be instruments of your peace and extensions of your loving and healing hands. As we gather here today, bless us all that our collective knowledge be tempered and guided by your wisdom. Grant us clarity of vision to see the common good amidst all distractions. Endow us with humility and purity of heart to transcend all differences and reservations. When we leave this gathering, let us be the change we seek. As we endeavor to practice what we learn, let us be the good we want to see in others. As we work for our learners and their future, let it be that your will be done. In solemn silence, let us conclude with our own personal prayer.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, telos ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng mag-ibig, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mo pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pamay di magdidinig. Lumalang araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaw
Good morning once again, our dear partners in learning. This year is a big year for Rex, and we are so happy to be able to share this milestone with you as we continue to serve you as the new, bigger, and better Rex Education.
Go, 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 go!
Junior! Hoy, Junior! Junior!
And then,
Di ba may assignment ka na dapat ipasa ngayong hapon? Ako muna dyan, hoy! Ako muna. Sige na. Nagsisimula na yung basketball. Yan! Ano ba, Junior? Umayos ka na! Huwag kang para-hara dyan!
ma'am, excuse ako.
Oh, nabasa ko na yung case study.
Nakikita niyo, may meeting ako dito. Nakakahiya.
Ito, sa revised penal code. Tumahimik kayo dyan! Hoy! Sige, hindi na tayo maabot.
Doon ka na. Sige.
Okay ka lang?
Pipi,
Bakit?
Tapos ka ba? Bakit di ka nagagawa assignment? Nagkasabit natin, kumopya ka lang eh.
Anong nangyari, anak?
Ano nangyari sa'yo?
Now, to tell us more about Rex Education and to officially open today's event, let us hear from Rex Education's Chief External Affairs Officer, Ms. Tanda Crimelda Buhain.
Good morning, fellow EduCampions. I am truly honored to represent Rex Education in today's book launch and webinar for Business and Accountancy. Our transformation from what we know as Rex Bookstore to Rex Education mirrors our growth from publishing books to going where the learners are. Today, we are producing educational materials in different media and services to address every lifelong learning, ever-growing and changing needs in the 21st century. For more than 70 years now, Rex has remained relentless in its duty to assist all education duty bearers to rise to the task of nation building. As we continue to overcome the challenges of this new normal, we will also continue bringing duty bearers together to champion education. Empowering ourselves to empower others, ensuring that we all respect, protect, and fulfill every learner's right to quality education. This is what makes every one of us a true educampion. In today's evolving hybrid and flexible learning environments, or hyflex, as we now know it, maximizing student engagement is crucial. The question now is, how do we keep every business and accountancy student engaged, interested, challenged, and true agents of their own learning? We are honored to have with us Dr. Roberto Bobby C. Dacanay from St. Scholastica's College School of Business and Accountancy to impart strategies and opportunities on how we can keep student engagement up in a high-flex setup. He will also share various tried and tested learning solutions that can foster skills development while leveraging technology available in our schools. We will also be joined today by our dear authors from the Business and Accountancy program, Professor Jessie Ray L. Meneses, Dr. Maria Anita Reguera, Professor Christian Jimenez, Dean Danny Cabulay, Dr. Emerson G. Cabudon. Thank you, dear authors, for lending us your time and wisdom. To all our business and accountancy students here, you are the future contributors to the development and improvement of our economic health. We hope that our speakers today inspire you to become good future business and economic leaders of the Philippines, who will champion the next generation of students and all lifelong learners. Together, let us say yes to learning para sa bata, para sa mamamayan, para sa bayan. May we all have a blessed and learning-filled event today. Thank you and good morning.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Danda, for that very warm welcoming remarks. Before we officially introduce our speaker, let me share first a few reminders to our participants. Now, to all our Zoom attendees, for the pre-draw of our raffle, please change your names in Zoom to your real name, meaning the name that you used during the registration process. To all the participants today, for you to receive an e-certificate, you must accomplish the feedback form to be shared later before we end the program. So please stay with us until around 12 noon. We will entertain up to 5 questions to our main speakers, while we will only entertain 3 questions to each of our authors. Okay, now just please comment your questions in Facebook or in our YouTube stream comment section, the Zoom participants. We will read your questions after every presenter. All right, as what Ms. Danda mentioned earlier, in today's evolving hybrid and flexible learning environment, or HyFlex as we know it, maximizing student engagement is really crucial. Now, the question is, how do we keep every business and accountancy students engaged, interested, and challenged in online learning? Our guest speaker for today will help us address this question by sharing his expertise. And aside from that, with the book launches and mini lectures of the Rex Education authors that will happen shortly after, we will see how Rex Education's various learning solutions can foster skills development, interconnect with, and can be leveraged using technology. Now, without further ado, let me introduce our guest speaker for today. Our guest speaker is a certified public accountant and was a former research analyst and budget administrator for the corporate planning department of the Philippine National Bank. He's a former dean in the Dominican Seminary at St. Albert's House, a former college professor of theology and philosophy in Centro Escolar University, and the former head of accountancy program at the Centro Escolar University. He was awarded as an Associate of Fellow in Business Education, a Fellow of the Royal Institute of Accountants, and the Research Fellow of the Royal Institution of Singapore. Now, apart from being a co-proprietor and financial officer in Mary's Road of the Royal Institute, Mary's Road Center for Development, he is also currently a full-load faculty member of the St. Scholastica's College and graduate school professor of St. Scholastica's College and Centro Escolar University. Everyone, please send your love reactions and let us all warmly welcome our guest speaker for today, Dr. Roberto Bobby C. Dacanay. Hello, sir. Magandang umaga po.
Yeah, magandang umaga po. Okay, so this is the first time I've been using this StreamYard, and I'm not really quite familiar of how I look at, and very difficult for me because I'm not seeing anybody. I'm only seeing myself on the screen. Bilang mga guru po, napakahalaga sa ating nakikita yung ating tinuturuan. So I have been tasked by Rex. Alam nyo, I've been speaking for Rex for almost 10 years now. And the first time I gave a lecture and talked with them is also in a book launching when I was the author of Financial Management. So, matagal na po yun. So, hanggang ngayon po, first time ko po makapakabigay ng talk na 30 minutes lang. Pero yung topic po ay napakahalaga. No? Student engagement in a hybrid environment. Allow me first to share my slides. Ayan, nakikita nyo na po ba? Ang hirap nito, walang reaction, hindi ko nakikita dito. Can you hear me and see the slides at the same time? Yeah. I hope you can hear me and see me. Kasi wala po ako naririnig. Naririnig po ako.
Dr. Dacanay, yes. Opo, nakikita po namin yung slides.
Okay, so everybody gets to see me. Okay, so this is the topic that has been given to me, and I'm only given 30 minutes. So there are other talks that I'll be giving to Rex regarding this topic along this line, but it will be for more of a whole day topic because this is really very complex. No? Pero I will try to present it in a very succinct manner. So yan po yung una nating ipipresent, yung hybrid environment. But you know, I've given this talk on hybrid environment in different universities for the past 2 to 3 months. No? And as I was going along with my talk, nagulat ako, marami palang hindi naiintindihan yung hybrid. Okay, so i-set muna natin yung mga yon. Ano? So I will be presenting an overview of what hybrid is. And then our dear, the one who introduced me kanina, no? Si Miss Ma'am Buhain, mentioned about hyflex and then blended learning. Siguro it would be very important that we look into this, to the difference between these terms in education. Lalo na po sa atin sa accountancy, lalo na po sa atin sa business, no? I've been an accounting professor for almost 30 years now. A theology professor and then accounting professors. And then I'll be showing you some practical strategies on the end of the educator, on the end of the teacher. Okay? Tapos i-define din natin kung ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng engagement na pinag-uusapan. Di ba sa research, pag binigay mo yung title, binibiyak-biyak yung mga bawat salita o mga bawat salita para malaman natin kung anong ibig sabihin ng ating gagawin. So, define muna natin ano yung hybrid, hyflex, blended para pare-pareho po tayo ng platform na pinatitinitignan. If you look at the pictures here, this is an example of a hybrid classroom. No? Ito pong nakikita nyo dito, yan po yung hybrid classroom. Kung mapapansin nyo po, pag sinabi pong hybrid, yung learner po na di-divide sa dalawang grupo. They're divided into 2 groups. It belongs in one class. Halimbawa, Bachelor of Science, BSA Section 1, BSA 1A. So yung meron mga BSA 1A na nandito sa classroom, ayan. Ako ito, pero babae ito. Ako na lang ito sa taas. Yan. Ako ito. So eto yung mga estudyanteng nasa classroom. At the same time, may mga estudyante akong naka-online, naka-Zoom. Madalas kasi Zoom ang ginagamit na platform. So pag sinabing hybrid, ganyan ang itsura ng hybrid. There will be one professor teaching students in class at the same time merong sa Zoom. Hybrid yan. Okay? Ano naman yung blended? Para mapabilis lang tayo for the next slide. Yung blended po, there is one teacher, one class, isang section. Waaring itong week na to, full face-to-face. Tapos bibigyan ko po sila, next week, let's say, magpo-full online kami. Pag nag-full online kami, then mag-shift kami face-to-face, then online, then face-to-face, and using different modalities on how we are going to deliver the course or the subject. Then that's called blended. Okay? So isang teacher, pero yung estudyanteng pumapasok sa classroom, sama-sama, tapos sila rin yung mga magkakaklase sa online. Okay? Pero sa hybrid, hindi po. So kung 50 ang estudyante mo, yung 25 nasa classroom talaga, iba yung grupong nasa Zoom. Pero isa lang ang teacher, happening simultaneously. There could be some modifications of the hybrid concept, but in general, this is what hybrid is all about. Ngayon, papasok naman tayo sa salitang hyflex. Ano naman yan? Yung hyflex po, kasi when you do hybrid generally, when you do hybrid, it is the school that determines who goes to school and who goes, who comes to class online. Either by the student's choice, na kasi maaaring geographical ang rason kung bakit di sila makakapunta. Kasi by doing hybrid, actually, you expand the four walls of your classroom. No? Pwede ka magkaroon ng estudyante. Kung ako yung nasa St. Scholastica College, Manila, pwede ako magkaroon ng estudyante sa Palawan, sa Bicol, sabay-sabayan. Hybrid yon. Pero, when you're giving the child the flexibility to choose between being online or face-to-face, it becomes high-flex. Pwedeng mangyari sa high-flex scenario is, yung estudyante, 1 month, papasok siya face-to-face. Tapos after a month, 1 week, mag-choose siyang mag-online. The students is given the flexibility to exercise kung kailan siya papasok. Ngayon, under this scenario, malaki ang effect nito sa learning plan ng teacher. Mahirap sa teacher to magplano. Sinabi ko nga sa isang kaibigan ko na kapatid ko na dean ng isang malaking university dito. Sabi ko sa kanya, Marita, pag nag-high-flex kayo, dapat makita mo kagad ang repercussion yan sa learning plan or dun sa syllabus. Ako po ay outcome-based educator po na triname po ng REX. I've been giving talks about of OBE sa REX for the past almost 10 years na. And ang madalas sa akin tinatanong when I'm discussing about hybrid is, gagamitin pa ba ang OBE? Absolutely. Even literature, books, textbooks must still be outcome-based. Remember, the hybrid, high-flex, blended learning are modalities of how we deliver instructions. They are not the concept of, they are within the purview of OBE. Hindi po yan magkahiwalay. No? Ngayon, ano naman yung blended? Yung blended nga po, nagtanong sa akin, ano naman yung pagkakaiba ng blended sa distance learning? Tandaan nyo po, yung blended learning is a modality and how we teach the course. Can a hybrid class be blended? Absolutely. Of course. Can it be? Can a high-flex class be blended? Of course. Pwede po. Okay? Na ito po yung I was able already to discuss this. But I just like to show you this diagram. Especially ito pong part na ito na blended learning and blended environments. Kung makikita nyo po, may face-to-face learning at saka virtual. So sa isang classroom, nagaganap ito. Ang pagkakaiba lang po maganda sa modelong ito, kung sila ipapasok sa virtual class, ito ang mga magagandang activities na pwede nyong ipagawa sa kanila. Okay? So, virtual online teaching. So, meron kayong recorded lesson. Of course, ang Zoom nagre-record yan. May mga live lessons, etc. May face-to-face students collaboration. Even in an online. Kasi mga face-to-face students yan. Pero next week, bigla sila nag-virtual, ito mga pwedeng activities mong pagawa sa kanila. Magkakaklase yan, same class. Okay? Ngayon, pag sila bumalik na sa classroom, ito naman ang pwede mong gamitin. Lecture, tutorial, laboratory, seminar. Ganun lang po yan. Okay? Yun lang po ang intindihin nyo sa blended. Isa pa po, pag sinabing blended, not necessarily online lang tsaka virtual. So, pwede pong ibang modalities. Okay? So, ito naman po yung difference ng hybrid at blended. Pero binigyan ko na po sa synopsis kasi 30 minutes lang po tayo binigyan ng pagkakataon na makapag-share sa inyo. This topic is something I discuss usually a minimum of 1 day. A minimum of half a day. No? Ito nga po, may talk ako sa August sa Rex Publishing din po. Ito rin po ang ano, pero this time it will be an enfleshment of what I am discussing with you. Okay, so let's now talk about the student engagement in a hybrid environment. Now, you know, one of the main concerns of educators today is to ensure that their students are fully engaged in learning and learning digitally. But at the same time, no, the learners and teachers alike are flooded with emotions while we are transitioning from the full remote system to the hybrid system or to the full in-person. Minsan po ang ibang literature, di ginagamit yung face-to-face. In-person po ang ginagamit nila. But in any case, both parties po may feel a bit or a little anxiety, no? Kasi may repercussions po ito sa teaching and learning procedures and processes na nagaganap sa kanila. Kung ang akala ng bata sila lang ang nape-pressure sa nangyayari, nape-pressure ang teacher din. Kasi nag-a-adapt din siya. Learners as well as teachers are oscillating. We are oscillating. We are transferring and revolving between learning environments. It can be hard in terms of maintaining consistency in the designing of the learning materials, no? Kasi consistency sa pagde-design ng learning materials, consistency sa ano ang laman ng learning contents, ano rin ang pagde-design ng learning experiences. Later on, I'm going to show you an accounting learning plan that is suited for hybrid. We designed this in school, no? Sharing lang naman po ito. Of course, you can change it. For those things that apply to you, you can take it. Those that doesn't apply to you, you can just let go. I-share ko lang po yung later on. Pero kung mapapansin nyo po, nandyan yung materials, contents. And of course, when you do a learning plan, the learning materials is essential. So may pagkakahirap po dun kasi umiikot-ikot po tayo dyan eh. And most importantly po, even in the definition of our agendas or outcomes while we're moving from in-person space to a full remote learning environment. Okay? Now, the best way to support all learners during this time of uncertainty and flux between the remote and in-person is actually napakahalaga po ito sa mga gurong nakikinig, lalo na po sa mga authors na guro. Kailangan po ng continuous planning. Okay? And the plan of the teacher is always found in the syllabi. Sa syllabi nyo po makikita yan. And since this is hyflex and hybrid, the syllabus learning plan needs to be constantly changing and dynamic. It is in a constant flux, so to speak. No? It must be designed to ensure fluidity, flexibility, creativity in defining the learning experience of the child to ultimately achieve the learning outcome. Tandaan niyo po yan. So, paano ko ma-i-engage ang mga bata? Ay, kailangan pagplanuhan yan. Hindi talaga pwedeng papasok ka doon. Kaya nga sinabi ko sa St. Scholastica, nang sabi na ako doon sa aking kaibigan na position, sabi ko sa kanya, we really need to train the teachers in developing the learning plan. Otherwise, baka sumabog tayo. No? So, paano natin ma-i-engage ang bata? Kailangan maayos ang learning plan. Okay? So, by bringing together this context of the oscillating dynamics and the anxiety felt by the students, no? We bring these two contexts and continuing to utilize the opportunities that remote learning has to offer through asynchronous learning, self-paced lessons, personalized pathways, additional one-on-one touch points, etc. We can help students to contribute to learn and grow together as one class no matter where they are physically. Alam niyo po, bili po ako sa mga eskwelahan na hybrid. Kasi pag hybrid po, kailangan lahat ng classroom malakas ang internet. Kasi habang nagkaklase ka sa klase, may klase ka sa online. In other words, naka-zoom, naka-monitor ka sa kanila sa screen. Kaya kung mapapansin niyo po yung picture ko kanina, ang lakas ng internet noon sa bawat classroom. Kaya yung mag-hybrid, ganun po yan. No? Ngayon, paano po yung mga eskwelang hindi kaya yan? Ay, pwede po kayo mag-blended. Mag-full online, mag-full face-to-face, o mag-blended. Okay? Now, let's define what student engagement is. If you did read your email, meron pong sinend na materials ang Rex, no, from the Alberta University. But when I was reading the literature, it seems that the theorist who wrote the article in the website is seeing student engagement sa online class kapag nakaharap sa kamerang ganyan. But student engagement defined in a pedagogical context is not that. Ano ba yung mga kasama sa student engagement na kailangan lahat ma-address nyo kapag naka-hybrid ka na? Kasi kung hindi ka nga naka-hybrid, ang hirap ng harapin itong student engagement eh. Naka-hybrid pa. Okay, so ano ba yung mga student engagement? Ano yung mga laman nito para masabing the student is engaged? Of course, presence in class. Okay? Participation in classroom discussions and socialization. Completion of work and learning tasks. So kahit nasa labas na sila ng online class, engage pa rin sila kung palagi sila nakaka-complete ng work, nakaka-complete ng learning tasks, na-achieve yung competency requirements. Collaborating with peers, synchronously and asynchronously. Part pa rin yan ng student engagement. Hindi yan actual online kasi may asynchronous eh. Sharing thoughts and inputs, reaching out to educators or peers for additional support. All of these items are indicators of student engagement. So kahit palagi siyang present sa class, kung hindi naman nagpa-participate sa discussion, hindi rin siya fully engaged. Kung present siya sa class, nagpa-participate siya, hindi naman siya nagsasubmit ng learning task, ng mga performance tasks, hindi rin fully engaged ang bata. Okay? Okay? So kailangan itong criterion to para ma-define lang natin, ano ba yung hybrid, ano ba yung engagement na dinedefine. Okay? So these are some practical tips that we come out, no? Actually, I've already used some of this because the dynamics and the modalities of a hybrid is something we've already been using because although we're not hybrid because we're full online, nevertheless, the issues that will surface in a hybrid permeates also in our experience in a full online class. Okay? The first one is providing consistent access to routines and resources. Now, it's very important that consistent structures, routines, and access to virtual materials allow students to always know where to look, and when they have to find their assignments. No? And the needed additional support is there, or their need to find out what will be the learning outcome for the day. And this is easily seen in the learning plan. So hindi rin po mawawala yung learning plan, yung syllabus. Kasi sa syllabus po yan makikita. Okay? So, kailangan po malinaw yung syllabus. Okay? Before we go on, paki-react lang po. Nakikita nyo po ba ito ngayon? Nag-escape ako. Lalabas po ako kasi dito kasi gusto kong i-share itong syllabus namin. Okay lang po ba mag-share ng syllabus? Ayan. Paki-react lang po kung nakikita nyo po itong syllabus ngayon online. Kahit na sino po sa mga nakikinig para malaman ko lang po kung nakikita po ito. Ito pong nakalagay, duration stated in weeks, hours. Nakikita po ba? I hope nakikita po. No? Kung sino po yung pwede mag-react lang. Kasi ang hirap po, hindi ko kayo nakikita eh. Okay. So, ito po yung itsura ng isang learning plan na pwede nyong gawin kapag po kayo ay hybrid. Okay? Merong face-to-face learning task. Meron po dito yung nag-o-online. Now, paano magiging engage ang isang bata? Kailangan alam niya to. Okay? Kailangan meron siyang access dito para alam niya kung ano ang routines at resources niya. Alam niya kung nasaan na siya habang tumatahak siya sa kanyang curriculum throughout the SEM. Malinaw po sa kanya. This is an example. I'm a cost accounting professor, so I have already designed this for next term. Kasi mag-hybrid po kami, pero ako baka mag-blended ako. So, Ganyan po siya. Kailangan po nakadefine yung learning task. Nakikita po ng bata yan. Pagbigay sa first day, yun ang unang yung pakikita eh. So, ito po ang mga learning tasks ng mga face-to-face students ko. At ito naman po ang mga learning tasks ng mga estudyante kong naka-online. If you will notice, no, mayroong mga magkakapareho. Okay? Meron pa ako nakasign dyan, SG or strategic grouping. Later on, I'll discuss them. So, the level of engagement is very much related to the creative provision of your learning tasks. Okay? So, kailangan din po nakikita niya yan. Ano ba ang dapat niyang ma-attain? Saan ba siya kukuha ng resources? Ano ba ang mga learning outcomes na dapat na i-monitor sa kanya? Kailangan nakikita niya yan. Ako palagi kong pinapakita yan, lalo kasi ako po yung teacher from senior high school to graduate school eh. So, kailangan po nila, pag nakita nila yan, ito pala gagawin namin. Nakaka-engage po yan. Kasi alam nila kung saan sila tatahak. Hindi sila sabog. Okay? So, isa po yun. Okay, let me go back to my PowerPoint. Mamaya-maya babalik po uli ako doon. Next is, by building a strong unified culture of community. No, the one thing that will happen in a hybrid class, if it's really a hybrid class, is that meron magkakaklaseng nasa classroom, eto. Tapos merong nandun sa screen, naka-zoom sila. Baka ang mangyari dyan, maging us and them. Baka mamaya maggrupo-grupo yan. Dito kami, face-to-face kami, magkakagrupo kami mga dabarkads. Tapos kayo mga online, kayo dabarkads. Hindi po magandang ganon. You have to come up with a we dynamic type of environment wherein they will see that the person on screen and the person live in the class, they're in one whole community. You must not create an us and them culture. It has to be a we culture so that unity will be coming in. There will be strategic grouping. No? So pag nag-hybrid na po kayo, pwede nyo pong gawin na ang paggagawa nyong activity yung para lang sa online. Pwede rin pong para lang sa iba yung activity na para sa nasa classroom. Pwede po yun. Hindi po sinasabing hindi pwede yun. As long as kung ano yung paggagawa mo sa classroom at paggagawa mo online, parehong competency ang ina-address sa learning outcome na dinefine mo sa syllabus mo. Okay? Ngayon, pwede rin pong strategic. Pwede rin pong paggrupuhin niya yung ibang miyembro na sa online sa miyembrong nasa face-to-face. Para po malaman nila, hindi pala itong ganon, pwede pala kaming mag-merge. Kasi you could give them performance tasks asynchronously, no? Sa face-to-face assignments that they can communicate online. That makes a strategic grouping of certain activities for students who are online and students who are in class becomes a blended learning experience to the persons or students in the face-to-face class. Okay? Becomes blended. Nagiging hyflex. Nagiging po siyang blended flex. No? Nagiging blended hyflex siya. Okay? So, maganda po yung ganon. Ano ba mga topics na pwedeng ibigay in a strategic grouping? Pwede pong mga topic discussions, reports, mga oral reports, debates. Diba? Pwede po mag-debates yan eh. Magkakakampi, pwede magkampi yung dalawang nasa online sa dalawang nasa classroom at saka dalawang nasa classroom sa dalawang nasa online. Pwede po yung pagganunin ng grupo. Pwede rin pong sa debate na paglaban-labanin yung nasa online at saka po yung nasa classroom. Okay? So, you have to create a strategic grouping so that the students will be engaged and that they will not be feeling that they're ostracized and separated and alienated just because we are online and therefore we are limited as to what we can do. Or we are face-to-face and therefore there are some limitations of what we can do that an online student can do. Kailangan po mag-create po kayo ng one culture. The next one is to engage the students in multimodal learning. You must use a variety of teaching and learning modalities like groupings and other activities. No? It could be synchronous. No? Pwede nyo pong gawin yan sa accounting. Sa accounting po tsaka sa business, marami po tayong mga case studies. No? Pwede pong multimodal ang dating. Pwede pong, katulad po itong ginagawa natin na habang nasa Facebook ako, nasa YouTube ako, nasa Zoom ako, pwede pang dagdagan nasa IG ka. Multimodal yan. Okay? The next one is to set up opportunities for self-direction, specifically for those people who are online. Okay? How can you engage them? By giving them the opportunity to experience self-direction. Simultaneous learning doesn't have to be purely synchronous with the teachers and teacher-directed. No? Consider how you can offer choices around asynchronous and synchronous opportunities throughout your day or in a class blocking or grouping. When interactive activities that allow agency or representations and choice are built in, students are able to take ownership of their learning and go deeper into content while also using self-direction skills they develop during the remote. Example nga po dito, mga business and accounting cases. Sa business po, ang daming mga case studies na pwede nyo pong gamitin itong multimodal na mas makaka-encourage ng engagement. At sa pa po, accounting research. Accounting research professor din po kasi ako. And I have done multimodal systems of teaching and learning. At may strategic grouping din po kami. Okay. Next is, you have to design remote-friendly assessment. Actually, remote-friendly assessment is some form of formative assessment. I can discuss to you what formative assessment and summative assessment for those who do not understand what this is. But remote-friendly assessments are basically like friendly. They are formative assessments. In order for them to get the pulse of where students are daily and weekly. Mahirap po kasi mag-formative assessment lalo na sa mga estudyante naka-online. Sa classroom po, mas nakikita no? Na-assess siya sa klase, the way they react in class, the questions they ask in class. No? Sa online po, minsan nakapatay yung screen, hindi mo siya makita. Katulad po ngayon, nagsasalita ako dito, hindi ko alam kung nandiyan kayo, nakikinig pa kayo. Hindi ko alam kung kumakain kayo dyan. Diba? So, ang hirap-hirap makita. Okay? So, dapat po maganda meron po tayong remote-friendly assessment. You can do this po through chat, discussion groups, para ma-assess nyo lang po. You can throw out clicker questions once in a while and to determine what they understand and what they don't understand, what needs to be rehashing, what needs to be refurbished in terms of delivery and implementation and teaching, what needs to be retaught. Okay? So, para po ramdam na ramdam nila na hindi sila alienated. Okay? It is also very important that teachers will share materials, no, at the right time. No? You must realize, by now, I hope you have realized, this is magtatatlong taon na po tayong full online, that the same materials and activities and lesson designed for in-person or face-to-face classes can't merely just be transferred or moved over to digital platform. No? Halimbawa po, sa yung mga nasa face-to-face, they can write on the board. You can't ask the students to write on the board unless, of course, there is a digital board that you will be providing in your class. So, yung mga ganun po, mahirap po, kailangan po, yung gagawin yung activities, nagtatranscend, tumatawid dun sa dalawang grupo ng estudyanteng hahandlein nyo. Okay? Magkaiba po kasi sila. Okay? So, teachers must create lessons and assessments, especially for remote learning. Yung mga face-to-face garden variety yan lalo na sa mga teachers sa atin na 30 years na 40 years, teachers na 25 years, alam mo na mag-handle ng mga nasa classroom pero ang mahirap kasi yung remote. Okay? So you have to plan these lessons. Depende po sa topic, sa subject na tinuturo dito. Now you have also to consider which parts of each lessons are most appropriate for each learning environment and ensure your lesson plans complement where the students fall. For example po, sa in-class or yung face-to-face, mas magpo-focus po tayo sa discussions, mga hands-on lesson, lalo yung mga may laboratory work, di ba? Supervised laboratory activities, lalo na po yung mga accounting information system na gumagamit po ng accounting laboratory, yung may computer, di ba? Hindi yan magagawa ng online. Halimbawa, may meron kang information technology subject that involves technology. Yung naka-face-to-face po, gagamit yun ng laboratory. Paano yun nasa online? Hindi naman sila makakapasok sa laboratory mo. So, kailangan i-design mo yung lesson mo sa kanila wherein the competency of the course will still be addressed. Okay? Sa mga remote learning po, of course, maraming reading 'yan kasi online. Mag-a-access 'yan sa Google, etc. Writing, no? Filling out of worksheets. Okay? Ako po yung nagtuturo sa senior high at nagtuturo na po ako ng working papers. Pati po working papers, ginawa ko na po yung template. Okay? Pati po yung template ng itsura ng work ng statement of financial position, yung statement of comprehensive income, yung cash flow, ginawa ko na po yan sa Excel. Para po madali ang bata, mas engage siya pag ginawa niya, efficiently niyang magagawa. Kaya ang bata nakakasubmit ka agad eh. Pero kung halimbawa, magtuturo ka ng working paper, tapos nag-blackboard ka sa online, tapos wala naman silang blackboard, wala silang worksheet, wala silang mahihirapan po yung naka-online. Mas maganda po, gumawa na kayo ng online, ng sarili ninyo. Let me share to you this one. Hindi ko lang alam kung makikita niyo po ito. Gumawa po ako ng lesson sa ito po. I hope you can see this one. This is a modular assessment example. This one is one I gave. If you notice here, no, nagpagawa po ako ng working paper. Online to full online. Ginawa ko na po ito. Pati po ang exam kailangan napakalinaw po ng pagkakadesign para fully engage ang bata. Madali niya kaagad magawa. Kasi kung sila pa lang ang magdi-design itong worksheet or a template, mahihirapan po ang bata. No? So, ako ginawa ko na yan. Okay? Itong exam nila, this is a performance task actually. 66 points yan. Okay? So, yan yung working paper. Tapos po, yung pagbibigay ng instructions, kailangan saksakan ng linaw at saksakan ng specific, lalo na po sa mga online hybrid environment students. Nakalakad tulad nito, compliance instructions. Use the notes of financial statement to break down the items in the financial statement. Make sure you use the appropriate heading for all the financial statements, etc. Do the income statement immediately below this instruction. Na ganun kalinaw. Kasi po, pag gumamit po kayo ng working paper na ganito o worksheets na ganyan, baka ang gawin po nila hindi vertical orientation ng pagsagot. Pwede po kasing paganyan eh. Di pag nagche-check ka, sumasakit ang ulo mo. Kasi yung iba, pag ganito ang hawak, yung iba, pag ganyan. Okay? So, maganda po, ini-instruct nyo ng malinaw. So, ito po yung statement of owner's equity, immediately below, pati rubric po, nandiyan na yung 5 points. Ganon din po. Ganong kalinaw dapat ang learning instructional materials ninyo at mga performance task materials ninyo para po ma-engage ang bata. Efficiently siyang mag-engage sa ginagawa po ninyo, pinapagawa. Okay? It should be the right material at the right time. In other words, if you're going to delve in and dive into what we call as the hybrid, it takes a lot of effort from the part of the teacher to plan it. Kaya nga po ngayon, ang pasokan namin August, pero ngayon pala, nakaplano na ako ng gagawin ko strategic cost management. Lalo na po sa learning plan. Papalikan nyo po ang learning plan. At yung sa plano po, lalagay nyo po doon yung mga activities na alam nyo makaka-engage sa kanila. Katulad po ng mga binibigay ko ng practical tips sa inyo. Ito po yung sinabi ko, in a remote learning, let me go back to my PowerPoint. So in a remote learning, ito po ang mga pwede nyong pagawa. Watching pre-recorded self-paced lectures. Pwede po kayo mag-pre-record ng lectures nyo. Ako po ganito para po mapabilis. Pag ako po nabigyan ng examination sa isang online class, yung sagot po next meeting, halimbawa working paper po, or bank reconciliation statement, or whatever statement I ask to do, the cash flow, yung pong answer sa performance task na pinagawa ko, next week, mapapanood nila pero recorded. Sinasagutan ko na po yan pero recorded. Para po hindi mo nagagamitin yung time na yun sa klase, doon mo palang i-reveal yung sagot kasi hindi po ako mahilig mag-multiple choice. Mahilig po ako talaga sa actual performance task assessment. No? Conceptual and procedural po ang gusto kong makita ang ginagawa ng bata. At saka mga higher order thinking global decisions are based. Usually my exams are almost case study like. No? So, sa in-person, ito nga po ang mga pwede nyong gawin. Yan yung mga practical na pwede nyong ibigay para mas self-engage sila. Pwede rin pong sa simultaneous. Ano po ang mga simultaneous na pwede nyong pagawa? Remote and in-person, problem-solving activities, mini-case studies in class. Okay po? So, simultaneous yan. Pwede nyong gawin. Kaya kung makikita nyo po yung learning plan na pinakita ko kanina, may mga learning activities na tumatawid sa face-to-face, na tumatawid sa hybrid. class, sa mga online students ko. May mga activities na tumatawid, and problem solving, mini case studies are there. These are the items that are considered as SGs in my category, strategic grouping. Pwede mo silang paghaluin. Okay? The next one is to give students an active role in the learning experience. No? Hybrid classrooms inevitably would require students to practice individual learning. While this can seem like a lofty challenge for students, teachers, and parents, it can also open up new opportunities and motivate students to take an active role in their learning experience. Okay? Hybrid students can pace themselves kasi pag nasa online ka, you can pace yourself eh. Lalo pa nagpapa-asynchronous performance task ka, hindi naman nila gagawin yan, pwedeng madaling araw nila gusto gawin yan. Isa pa maganda pa sa ganito, no? The students can review the class pag naka-hybrid sila. Yan ang hindi magagawa ng face-to-face eh. Diba? Unless of course you allow yourself to be recorded in class. No, may video cam. Pero yung nasa online kasi pag naka-zoom yan, recorded yan. So the students can pace themselves when learning new materials at home. They primarily are accountable for how well and they listen and absorb each lesson. Okay? Pasensya na po, ikakat ko na kasi masyado po tayong maiksi lang ang panahon. Next is stay connected in and out of class. No? You have to stay connected. There should be establishing a clear lines of communication across learning environments. Tandaan nyo po to. Yung estudyante nyo pong nasa Palawan, nasa Cotabato, nasa Lingayen, at yung estudyante mong nasa Saints Co Manila, UP Manila, whatever, kung nasa kung Quezon City ka, napakalayo po niya at napakahalaga pong constant ang communication nyo doon. Please do not depend only on using your own LMSs. But you should use other. Katulad po ako, may Google Class ako, may GC ako, may website ako, kasi pag biglang nag-back down yung LMS system mo, paano mo siya kukunin yung grades? Paano yung mga learning activities ng online? Kaya may backup ako palagi. At yung backup ko, isa dun ay ang GC because I'd like to be constantly in communication with these people. No? Maraming paraan. Pwede nga pong text eh. Lalo na po yung mga nahihirapan online, nagte-text talaga ako. So there should be established clear lines of communication across learning environments. Okay? Yung nasa face-to-face, walang problema, you meet them in class. Diba? Pero paano yung online? So kailangan nyo pong i-establish yun. Ito pong 2 years na nag-online ako, talagang kailangan po establish yan. Kasi sinasabi ko na madadrop out ang isang estudyante na hindi po sila failure because of incompetency, pero failure because of absences. Kasi po, wala silang online. Okay? So, kailangan nyo pong ma-establish yun. Okay? So, stay connected in and out of class. Let's go to number 9. Pasensya na po na doble yung aking 8. The next one is to adjust the lesson based on students' performance. One of the things that is very, very important that I've been doing also in my full online classes, also you could do with your hybrid, is you should always assess students' performance. Formative assessment is essential. Kung nung araw alternative ang formative assessment, ngayon po essential siya sa hybrid class. Okay? To protect students' learning outcomes and teaching strategies, educators should implement a formative testing tool across both learning environments to gauge students' performance and adjust lesson plans accordingly. The reason you do formative assessment is so that you will try to see whether the learning has happened. And if it has not, then you must review how you implemented it or how you gave the assessment task. These are the things that we need to review. Kailangan constant po ang feedback sa bata. Ha? Hindi po bigay activity check. Lahat. Si William Spady po, when I had a training, I was sent by Rex to train under my mentor is William Spady, the father of OBE. We once asked him, what is a formative assessment? A formative assessment is an assessment you write in pencil. Yung summative assessment, mga examinations are the assessment that you write using ball pen. Okay? And the reason they're written in pencil is that we can review. Malapit na po ako matapos. Okay. The next one is to provide the best audio visual. Lalo na po sa hybrid. Mahirap po ito pero Katulad nga ng ginawa namin kanina nila Jonah na bago ko mag-StreamYard dito. Bago pa lang po mag-start tayo ng alas 9, nag-testing na kami. Audible ba ako? Naririnig ba ako? Sabi ni Jonah, opo sir, pero may echo. Talaga may echo ko. Ayan o, may echo yan. Oo, di ba? Kasi, naka-V8 ako. So, sinasabi niya yan. So, tinitest nyo dapat yung audio-visual experience sa loob ng classroom. Maganda po kasi, eto, sasabihin ko na yung rules of it. Kapag po kayo nag-hybrid, no? Pag bumalik po kayo sa picture ng hybrid, yan, katulad po. Yan, katulad itong picture na to. Maganda po yung teacher, may technical support. Okay? Pwede ka mag-assign ng isang bata dyan na magaling sa technology na technical support mo kung magkakaroon ng problema yung online. Okay? So, pwedeng of course kung meron technical support sa eskwela, di mas maganda. Pero magandang may katabi ka dyan. Kasi minsan nawawala. Salita ka na salita, nagpa-blackboard talk ka, nagcho-chalk talk ka, yung bata nanonood sa'yo sa camera, yung pala yung camera, saksakan na ng labo kasi mahina na yung internet nung eskwelahan. Kasi ako po, nag-streaming din po ako, no? Sometimes sasabihin sa akin, pag nanonood ako, sabi ko, nagbe-blur ka. Yung pala, ako nagbe-blur, yung nasa online. At the same time, pwede rin nangyari, ang mahina yung internet ay yung nasa nag-i-stream o yung nasa classroom. Kailangan po, chine-check pareho yan. Kasi po, you have to really check the audio-visual experience. It has to be perfect. Even the vocal sound must be clear and audible. O kailangan maganda kang pakinggan, hindi basag. Ito nga, gusto kong pakinggan eh. Kaya lang, iba talaga sa StreamYard eh. Sa Zoom, medyo na ano ko na siya eh, natimpla ko na eh. So, kailangan po malinaw yan. Maaring malinaw ang boses, pero malabo naman ang video. Okay? So, kailangan po malinaw yan. Kung ang eskwelahan po ang magpo-provide ng hybrid system, yung eskwelahan po, kailangan malaki ang bandwidth ng internet sa bawat classroom. Kasi pa nagklase po kayo at lahat naka-hybrid yan, sabay-sabay hihigop ng internet yan. At kung ang teacher ay naka-MacBook, naka-Apple, ang lakas pong humigop ng Apple. So kung ang gamit mo ay unbranded laptop, ay baka hindi ka makahigop ng Wi-Fi. At kapag napakadami na pong gumagamit, yung taga-Palawan hindi na marating. Yung mga taga-Tugagaraw hindi na marating, nasa Butuan hindi na marating. Kasi mahina yung audio-visual experience. Practical lang po yan, kailangan po natin i-set yan at bantayan ng maigi yan. Kailangan may tech support palagi on call. Okay? The next one is you should set rules, clear rules, and be transparent in communication. Establishing a clear hybrid classroom guidelines should be put into place. No? When you are in class, dapat alam po ng bata on how to engage in a conversation, how to ask questions, how to act if they encounter a problem, what to do if they are late, how to deal with connectivity issues, how to get in touch with the teacher if they need to have a private conversation with them. And all of these will be spelled out in your syllabi. Kailangan nasa syllabus po yan. Pati po yung academic integrity issues. No? Halimbawa, magsasubmit. Kailangan, pwede ba ako magpabigay, nagbigay ka ng assignment sa isang face-to-face at saka sa isang estudyanteng naka-online, ang dali po nila ma-access yung Google. Diba? Pero yung nasa face-to-face, hindi po nila magagawa yan kasi nandun sila sa classroom right away. Diba? So, lahat po yan kailangan naka-spell out sa learning plan. The rules of engagement must also be made clear. No? Okay? So, you have to retain order, minimize disruptions, and ensure students are heard. Kaya paulit ako nagtatanong, oy, naririnig nyo ba ako? Oy, naririnig nyo ba ako? Oy, naririnig nyo ba ako? Kaya lang wala po nagre-reply sa akin. Kaya lang wala po nagre-reply sa akin. Kaya lang po wala nagre-reply sa akin. Sana naririnig nyo ako dyan. Palakpak nga kayo kung naririnig nyo ako dyan kung nasaan lang kayo. Ayan, yung iba nakangita, yung iba walang pakailan. Ayan, okay. The next one is use polls for learning and feedback. No? This is one of the very important things when you do hybrid or online. Madalas ka po nagpapa-poll watch. No? Quick polls consisting of one or two more questions are gaining popularity, engagement of remote classes. Some educators with larger classes use them spontaneously to ensure the students are participating in class and to combat academic dishonesty. Maganda po yun kayo. On one hand, a quick fire test this is a fruitful method for enforcing engagement in hybrid classrooms and ensuring students pay attention throughout the lesson. On the other hand, it can also be invaluable immediate feedback tool. So napakaganda niyang gamitin. No? Madalas po ako nagpapa-poll lalo na sa chat. Pero ang Zoom po may poll feature po siya. Hindi ko lang po alam yung mga yung mga LMS systems. And of course, ano pa na lang po ito, the use of small group collaborations is very, very important. No? You can use breakout groups. Sa Zoom po, sa hybrid, pwede po kayo mag-breakout groups. Okay? Tapos, you can develop teams. Tapos, specify their role. Then, use accountable STEM talks. Ito pong details ng number 13. Mas madidiscuss ko po sa inyo in detail yan kung full engagement po tayo sa seminar. Pero since this is just a gist, I cannot give you the full. Pero yan lang po pwede nyo. You can use breakout groups, define the member roles when you divide them, and use accountable STEM talks. Yung mga accountable STEM talks po, when they do breakout groups, how do they start with a conversation? Ano yung mga pasimulaing pananalitang pwede nilang gamitin? Okay? Kumbaga yun yung mga language na ginagamit in doing meetings. Okay? I think this is the last part of my slide. Okay. So, I do not know if I have ample time kung nagpas na yata ako kasi 9:45 to 10:10 no, dapat hanggang 9:45 lang ako. Okay, so doon lang po ako nagtatapos sa aking mga discussion. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig. Sana po yung nakatulong. Kung may nais po kayong itanong, maaari po kayong mag-chat, ibigay sa kanila at pwede pong i-forward sa akin ang tanong ninyo. O sa email po, pwede nyo po akong email sa inyong mga questions on the details on how you can really implement the different tips that I have given. Maraming salamat po and God bless. Mr. MC, I don't think I can hear you. But can you hear me? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Yan.
Oh, hello?
Ayan. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yan. Sir Bobby, ako.
Okay po. Kanina po ba hindi ako yung nag-discuss ako, naririnig ba ako?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear po.
Okay. Okay po, maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Yes. Alright, Sir Bobby, maraming salamat din po. Thank you for that very rich presentation that you shared with us.
Thank you very much po.
Okay, now we'll see how education's various solutions can foster skills development, interconnect with, and can be leveraged using technology with the presentations the Rex Education offers in book launches. But before that, i-acknowledge lang natin ang ating participants, Facebook, sa Zoom, and in YouTube. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope everyone are okay, are doing good. Now, please stay with us until the end of the program for the announcement of our full winners. Ayan, later po yan. So, ako natin. Now, moving on to our first book to be launched, our first author presenter is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Commerce, major in Economics at the University of Santo Tomas, Manila. She finished her Master of Science in Commerce, major in Marketing, summa cum laude from this university. She obtained her Doctor of Business Administration from the University of Perpetual Health System in Las Piñas. Before joining the academy, she already had a vast experience in the industry, a supermarket manager, manual curation, and an entrepreneur. Her work experiences in the academy include being a former dean of PBE International Business College, Tres Piñas, is a program chair of Faith Colleges, and senior high school ABM head of FEU Alabang. Currently, she is a part-time professor at the ETH School of Business and Administration in Mapua University, Makati, and the program head for Business Administration and BS Office Administration of National Teachers College in Manila. Everyone, let us give a warm welcome to our author of the criminology book, Management Science, Dr. Maria Anita Rivera. Alright, we play the video now. Hello?
First of all, I would like to thank Rex Bookstore for allowing the authors, like myself, the opportunity to present our book to the academic heads and faculty of the different colleges and universities around the country. Kudos to the management and staff for all your efforts to promote the book. To those who will purchase the book, I hope you will find it interesting while it helps you inculcate analytical skills in you. Why did I write the book about management science? After the completion of my Doctor in Business Administration degree, I asked myself, what will be my next challenge? San ba ako mas kailangan? Then I found out that Rex Bookstore is looking for an author for management science. I told myself, I can do it. I figured that my background and working experiences in the industry, particularly as a store manager, could be an advantage for this project. Besides my working experiences, I also have handled the subject quantitative techniques in business for 5 years. This gives me the essential proficiency in writing this book. Next question is, where will I get the latest materials for the book? There is an ongoing pandemic, and so I thought maybe I can ask my friends who are experts as managers, directors, and entrepreneurs to give me candid stories of how their company's operations were affected by the present global crisis. My friends agreed to provide information on how procedure changes were adopted to ensure their organization's smooth operations. Their views and insights, I would say, greatly enriched this book, making its content more meaningful and relevant compared to other management science books. As to my credentials and qualifications as an author for management science, I can say that it is the blend of my fruitful years of experience, both in the industry and the academe. Let me start with my formal education. I am a graduate of the following degrees: Bachelor of Science in Commerce, major in Economics; Master of Science in Commerce, major in Marketing. Both courses were taken from the University of Santo Tomas. I was awarded a gold medal for winning the economics quiz in college and was given the highest distinction, summa cum laude, upon graduation from my master's degree. In 2020, I finished my DBA from the University of Perpetual Health System, DALTA. For me, my greatest achievement for my doctorate studies is my dissertation entitled Digital Blockchain, a business model for cost efficiency and business security of the real estate industry. I'm very thankful that the graduate school faculty appreciated my work for its novelty and its insights on emerging technologies. As to my non-formal education, I enrolled in the following courses: Basic and Advanced Computer Programming from De La Salle University in the 90s, fashion design courses at Golden Hands Fashion and Art School in Manila. Now let us go to my work experiences. First, in the industry. Working for one of the top financing companies has professionally prepared me for my future endeavors. My job positions in this finance company made me realize the importance of achieving efficiency by taking advantage of new technologies. As a marketing assistant, I was trained on dealing with clients and, in a way, perfected my self-confidence. As a supermarket store manager, I have developed skills in customer and supplier relations, human resource management, operations management. Then, as a treasurer of our family corporation, my main responsibility entailed cash flow and investment management. Moving on to my work experiences as entrepreneur. In the early 2000s, I established two businesses, a salon business and an internet cafe with internet literacy tutorial services. Currently, I'm helping my husband manage our build and sell real estate business. Being an entrepreneur, I take pride in being able to provide gainful employment opportunities. As to my work experiences in the academe, I have been a part-time professor of some of the most prestigious colleges and universities in Metro Manila. In 2008, I became the Dean of ABE International Business College, Las Piñas branch. In 2012, as the BSBA Program Chair of Faith Colleges, my main responsibility is to plan, develop, upgrade the program, and be able to pass the rigid requirements of accreditation agencies. I joined FEU Alabang in 2018 as the ABM Strand Head and was also temporarily designated as Prefect of Discipline. At present, I am a part-time professor at UST. I handle finance subjects. Let's now move on to the overview of the book Management Science and its salient features. Management Science book includes 18 chapters designed to illustrate the basic concepts of the most important mathematical tools used by managers in making optimal decisions. Many of the topics of the book were covered in 2 chapters to allow more focused discussions on the subtopics. The first 2 chapters, Introduction to Management Science parts 1 and 2, present the cornerstone upon which management science is built. The next two chapters dealt with decision theory. In this topic, the book captured the pandemic scenarios of our country as managers tried to navigate operational procedures to function as normally as possible during the long lockdowns. Because the concern at that time was how can they accommodate the demands of their clients or maintain the excellent quality of their products while ensuring the health and safety of their employees. And then we have linear programming, which is discussed in the 5th and 6th chapters. This mathematical tool is one of the best known tool of management science. The main objective of linear programming is to determine the allocation of the organization's limited resources. Chapter 5 summarizes the structure of the linear programming problem. The graphical method, which is the simplest form of linear programming computation involving two variables, was the highlight of this chapter. In chapter 6, simplex method, a long computation was demonstrated. Simplex method was used for solving more unknown variables that are geometrically difficult to plot in a graph. The book featured distribution models, which are a special type of linear programming problem. The two main classifications are transportation and assignment, discussed in chapters 7 and 8 respectively. The two math tools utilize special computational procedures. Network models are discussed in chapters 9 and 10. The network models are applied in managerial situations involving a complex interrelated activities such as construction projects. The two main topics are critical path method or CPM and program evaluation review technique or PERT. Chapter 11 is about a tool that describes and predicts the movement of a system over a period of time. This tool is known as Markov analysis. And then in chapter 12, dynamic programming is a mathematical tool used for solving sequential decisions problems. Game theory in chapter 13 explains how the analytical framework is used for managerial decisions involving conflicting situations. This chapter highlighted zero-sum games, a concept that states a win is only possible at the expense of an opponent's loss. Chapter 14 offers solutions to waiting lines, like what we see in the supermarkets, toll booths, banks, and so on. This theory can also be applied in emergency medical situations, number of elevators in a building, the size of a restaurant, and road traffic management. The different types of inventory models are featured in chapter 15, as well as the basic structure of our inventory system. In chapter 16, computations for accepting or rejecting quantity discounts is the main topic. Chapters 17 and 18 discuss simple forecasting techniques and forecast errors, which are vital in the preparation of marketing and financial plans. So how the content of the book was designed. Each chapter of the book begins with an introduction of the mathematical tool, which includes a brief history, the basic concepts, and application to specific management problems. After defining the basic concepts and principles, a practical sample situation is provided for further clarity on the application to managerial problems. Toward the end of the lesson, additional sections such as conclusion, review questions, case problem, and further readings ensure that readers get more insights and learnings on the topic. Author's approach to the delivery of the contents. The structure of the contents is based on how teachers or facilitators will teach the topics. First, the concepts and principles and background are explained, and the discussion will proceed to the sample situations with the application of the math tool as part of the solution. The book used algebra and basic statistics, a concise and easy to understand language used in writing the book to avoid confusion and enhance effective learning, most especially among the students. The tables and figures are displayed in a clean and optimal format to allow easy understanding and be able to contain more information. Appendices are added at the end of the last chapter as supplement to some of the topics. And lastly, answers to all cases and PowerPoint presentations are compiled in the accompanying professor's kit so that the facilitator can readily use all the materials for lectures, discussions, as well as assessment. That is all. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Dr. Maria Anita Rivera, and congratulations. Okay, now on to our next book. Our author and presenter is a certified public accountant and certified forensic accountant. He's a sitting reviewer of CRCA's CPA Review School, teaching subject of audit. He's formerly the chairperson of the Financial Management Program of the Tarlac State University and teaches at the Kingfisher School of Business and Finance, one of the top performing schools in CPA examinations.
Good morning to the wonderful people of Rex Education and to our guests on Facebook. I'm going to share my material for this morning so I can discuss the features of the book. How do I share it here? Share screen. Okay. Okay, so wait. Okay. So I'm gonna discuss the features of our book on governance, business ethics, risk management, and internal controls. So allow me to introduce ourselves first before tackling the features of the book. I'm Jesse Meneses. I have some engagements in the sphere of risk management, controls, compliance. I also train accountants and auditors in PICPA lectures, and also I discuss governance topics in other private entities as well as an educator. My co-author, who's Mr. Eugene Villaseran, formerly worked in a Big Four accounting firm. At the same time, he's an author of other accounting books being published by Rex, and the former training manager of the PICPA National Office. So what inspired us to write this book? Ano po yung nag-inspire sa amin na isulat ang aklat na ito? We were convicted po talaga kasi na napakahalaga ng corporate governance, ethics, risk management, and internal control in preventing another Enron. Out of nowhere, Enron came and everything changed. That tsunami of finance scandals rocked the business world, and it sent shockwaves across global capital markets. Ang dami pong naapektuhang mga companies, mga employees. So talagang na-convict po talaga kami na mahalaga ang topic of governance, ethics, risk management, and controls. Hindi namin sinasabi na yung aming aklat ay kaya niyang isolve ang isang Enron kind of problem. Ang aming sinasabi lang, we want to impart, we want to relay to our learners, first year, second year learners, the importance of this subject at an early stage in their collegiate life, ma-convict din sila, maging passionate sila na mahalaga itong governance, ethics, risk management, and controls. Another reason that inspired us to write the book is that we know that it's a technical subject. May mga materials on the internet, may mga governance codes sa SEC website, but we need not bombard our students with so many codes, corporate codes. Hindi po nila maintindihan yun dahil first year, second year sila. So we wanted to relate to them a corporate storyline para maintindihan nila yung mga internal controls, risk management, ethics. We wanted to tell them a story ng mga companies. That's why in writing the topic, writing the subjects, para kami nagkukwento. We're trying our best to converse with the readers. Ganun, no? Para ma-engage po sila. Now, when it comes to the book, in terms of content, the scope, and the style, and the length, we believe that we need to strike a balance sa laman ng aklat at yung haba niya. This is a minor subject, but when I say minor, hindi siya less important. No? Mahalaga siya. Nevertheless, kailangan naming tingnan yung available hours ng mga bata para talaga ma-absorb nila yung mga important topics, concepts, and application of these things. So we made it a point na maging maikling aklat lang siya. It's a very concise book, but comprehensive enough. Kapag sinabi pong concise, it doesn't necessarily mean na may nawawala. Tiningnan po namin sa syllabus ng piniprescribe ng SHED yung mga subtopics siya. And we made it a point that all of those subtopics are contained in this very concise book. When it comes to style, perhaps my co-educators here would agree na mahalaga yung simple way of transmitting knowledge to our students. So our book, it explains complex and highly technical topics in an easy to understand manner. Nandiyan ang mga technical jargons, pero we did our best to describe them upang maintindihan ng mga estudyante. Ang tanong, paano namin maipapakita sa kanila yung process of, let's say, halimbawa lang, risk management? Kasi nga, if you're gonna bombard students with so many technical things, technical procedures, hindi nila maintindihan dahil nga first year, second year students pa lang sila. But we need to give them a feel of the topics. Halimbawa po, nakikita niyo po ba yung nakikita ko sa screen? Yan. No? In discussing, for instance, the topic of risk management, the way companies manages risk, we utilize mga risk templates and other documentation. Kasi po para sa amin iba yung visuals. Visual aids convey very important things to students. Not just concepts, but also the application of those concepts, like the risk management process. In a single snapshot, makikita ho nila sa simplified template katulad niyan na ang unang paraan pala dyan after determining the objectives of the business is to identify yung mga risks. Yan. Halimbawa po dito, parang kinukwento ko lang muna po, no? Hindi naman ako nagla-lecture dito about risk. Halimbawa, may imagine ng mga bata, ito mga problems na to, possible computer breakdown, possible cash deficit, ganyan. So yun po ang papakita namin ditong dapat nilang ma-extract. What are the risks? At mailagay nila sa template. After that, then and only then can they assess the identified risks in terms of the likelihood and the impact. So papakita po namin sila dito yung procedure, not just the framework. Kasi po pag framework, siyempre framework, principles-based po siya. Ang hirap pong isipin, intindi ng mga bata kung framework lang, conceptual framework of risk management. Kailangan merong solid, merong clear demonstration ng framework of risk management. Kaya yan po, no, parang ginawa namin sila mga yung procedure dyan, no? Yan, no, assess yung chance of occurrence and the significance upang makuha yung combined risk score. Based on the risk score, students can conclude whether or not the risk is a significant risk or not. Kapag significant risk po siya, papakita ng template na to na dapat nilang i-mitigate. And how can they mitigate? Doon pa lang sila mag-iisip ng controls and risk management plans. Ganun po, no? Although may mga templates po kaming inilagay sa aklat, we made it a point na meron ding simple and concise narrative. So, after the template, ikukwento namin yung laman o yung ibig sabihin ng mga nakalagay sa template. Ganun po siya, no? So, yun po, may templates kami, then merong short narrative para ma-immerse yung bata sa mga important concepts and application of those concepts. So, yung mga pages po ng aklat namin, palaging may mga templates po yan. Besides, itong mga estudyante natin will become future accountants. At napakahalaga po sa mga accountants ang alam nila how to document things, di ba? Lalo na pag nag-audit na po sila. At least yan po yung simple template pa lang, we expect na malaking bagay na po sa kanilang enhancement ng kanilang understanding yan. Another feature ho ng aming book is that it interrelates or integrates different concepts building from the previous chapter hanggang sa next chapter. So, ayaw po namin i-discuss yung mga concepts in an isolated manner. Parang magiging silo chapter sila. Gusto namin ma-integrate ang lahat ng mga concepts as much as possible. Halimbawa po, nakikita niyo na po ba yung nasa screen natin? I hope nakikita po niyo siya. Una po on the left side, pinakita namin a very simple tabular presentation of the business objectives ng company dyan. Yan po, no? Madaling intindihin po yan. Self-explanatory ng iba dyan. And then, may mga corresponding events, both internal and external. And these events can prevent the company from achieving the objectives. So, meron po kaming ganyang presentation, side-by-side presentation ng mga business objectives. Side-by-side with events that can be a threat to the achievement of those objectives. And then may mga examples po kami na ginawa naming very clear para hindi masyadong mahirapan ang bata sa pag-i-imagine. Diba? Yan po. So yan po. We made use of bullet points lang. Although, again, meron kaming narrative or corporate storyline. So they need to know. Mga bata po kasi, hindi pwedeng nagme-memorize lang sila. Hindi pwedeng nagde-definition of terms lang. Kailangan yung critical thinking nila at an early stage sa kanilang pag-aaral, mai-connect nila yung mga events na yan, things that can happen, at anong impact nila sa company. Ganun po, ano? So that's very crucial in molding the minds of our students. For every chapter ho, naglagay po kami ng mga introduction. And we carefully uh, crafted the introduction in a way na ma-engage ang isip ng mga bata. And as much as possible, gumamit kami ng real-life corporate examples like Enron, WorldCom. And we always ask questions sa dulo para sila mismo isipin nila. When these accounting scandals occurred, ang tanong, nasaan yung mga auditors? Pero ang talagang tanong, nasaan ang corporate governance? So they need to know, after asking themselves these questions, ano ba yung corporate governance? What is a well-governed company? Ito yung company na merong high ethics, company na merong risk management, at merong internal control. Yun po yung gusto namin i-convey sa kanila. We also made use of caselets of real-life companies kasi mahalaga ang critical thinking development sa mga estudyante. Enron was a very complex financial scandal, pero natural, i-discuss natin siya sa mga bata in a simple manner. It's easier said than done, pero doable naman ho na ma-explain sa kanila in a simple manner complex cases like Enron. Ganyan po yung aming ginawa sa mga caselets sa ating humble and concise book. And we encourage students to explore internet materials. Kailangan po ma-develop yung kanilang resourcefulness. They need to go beyond examples in the book. By themselves, magagawa nilang alamin what happened to other corporations during that turbulent decade of financial scandals. And lastly ho, dahil mga accounting students po ito, primarily, kailangan ma-develop yung kanilang analytical, mathematical thinking, anong impact ng mga scandals na yan sa iba't ibang accounts. Presumably, they're done with their accounting subjects na yung basic accounting nila. While hindi po ito MS, hindi naman, pero sa napakaagang stage sa kanilang pag-aaral, marunong silang mag-determine ano ang effect, ano ang impact ng mga fraud na yan sa iba't ibang important accounts. Like, ano yung total assets? Was it overstated or understated sa WorldCom fraud? Anong effect nun sa mga investors? Yan, no? Anong effect sa income? Anong effect sa cash flow from operations ng iba't ibang scandals? Kailangan ma-develop po sa isip nila yon because they will be future accountants. So we exerted all available efforts. We explored all available avenues para ma-assist sila na maintindihan ang financial impacts of these high-profile corporate cases. So at the end of the course, three-unit course, and after completing the book, we hope and pray na after exploring, after their odyssey across these oceans of fraud and controls and risks and governance, maabot yung ating trajectory na talagang maintindihan nila, maunawaan ang importansya and the process for governing companies and controlling their risks. So with that, salamat po sa Rex Bookstore. Truly one of the jewels, or truly a jewel in the best traditions of Philippine education. Salamat po at mabuhay po ang Rex Bookstore. Mabuhay po kayong lahat.
Sobrang rich nung... Hello? All right. Thank you so much for that, CPA Jesse Ray Meneses. Wow, no? Parang short and simple yung kanyang presentation, pero marami tayong nakuha, no? Napaka-rich ng ating presentation. Right now, do we have any questions? Do we have any comments about the presentation? Feel free to chat that in our comment section. Okay, so may mga comments tayo dito, no? I think they're very happy with the turnout of our presentation. Let's see. Yeah, and sabi dito, no, thank you very much for a very interesting and informative sharing. Totoo naman, no? Marami tayong nakuha, especially from the previous sharers that we had. There you go. So that comment was from Miss Ellen Salinas. Ma'am Ellen, thank you so much for tuning in. Ayan, maagang maaga, no, na nakikinig tayo, nakatutok tayo ngayon sa 2022 book launch and webinar for Business and Accountancy. All right, and another comment here. We have from Luisa Evangelista Prado. She said, I'm glad to learn and to have knowledge to develop my teaching strategies. All right, so Professor si Ma'am Luisa. Ayan. Okay, so let's read more comments. How about sa Zoom natin? Let's see, or i-check natin yung ating Facebook. Okay, while we are waiting for the comments or for any questions, let me just remind you that later we will be having our raffle draw. So make sure no na nakapag-register tayo dun sa link na nakapin dun sa ating comment section because later magkakaroon tayo ng or mamimigay tayo ng mga raffle prizes and I must tell you, exciting prizes ang ipinapamigay ni Rex every time. Ayan. Okay, grabe no? Marami tayo right now. And just a few reminders sa Zoom participants, no? This is what I'm talking about a while ago. You have to use your real name to enter the Zoom platform. Make sure na yung ginamit nyo is yung name na pinang-register ninyo. Ayan. Now, later, since we promised that we'll be giving away your e-certificates, make sure that you watch the webinar via Facebook Live, YouTube, or Zoom and accomplish the feedback form after the event. Actually, importante yan, no? Also, link to the Facebook feedback form will be shared before the end of the program. Sabi dito, ano, no feedback form means no e-certificate. Ayan. So again, no, for the questions, if you have any questions to our speakers sa FB Live and sa YouTube, you can share your questions in the comment section. And for Zoom naman, you can share your questions in the chat box. All right, so I think we don't have any more questions. Parang clear na clear naman. So we can now proceed to our next presenter and our next author. So let me just let me give a brief introduction to our next author and presenter. He is a former dean of the Institute of Accounts, Business, and Finance of the Far Eastern University, Manila. He's a certified public accountant with extensive experience in the tourism industry, holding senior positions in local and multinational companies like Dusit, Hyatt, Carlson Group, Four Seasons, Transafric, and many more. He engages in consultancy projects and conducts training courses. He was part of the international team of consultants who drafted the National Tourism Plan. Hello, hello, can you hear me? Hello? All right, all right. I think I'm back. Sorry for that. I was cut. Yeah, it's probably the internet connection. Okay, let me just introduce properly our next speaker. Okay, our next speaker and author is a certified public accountant and a licensed professional teacher, major in social science. He completed Hello? Okay, he completed his master in development economics at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and is currently a bank supervisor at the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, where he also facilitates Hello? Okay, the Professional Excellence Program of the organization. He's a project management professional and certified fraud examiner. He's also a certified Lean Sigma Green Belt. Our speaker is also the chairperson of the Department of Legal Management and Social Sciences of the Lyceum of the Philippines University, Manila, and a faculty member at the University of Santo Tomas, Manila, Philippine Normal University, and Lourdes School in Quezon City. He has taught applied economics, operations management, financial management, fraud examination, micro and macroeconomics, total quality management, Philippine government and constitution, and business ethics. He is also at TESDA as an assessor for National Certificate 3 Bookkeeping and Events Management Qualifications as the head of the professional training and CPD programs of OrgDev International. He has been providing training and consulting services to international companies, government agencies, academic institutions, and non-government organizations such as Coca-Cola, Volvo Philippines, IBM Shared Services, Department of Education, Department of Transportation, ASEAN Soji Caucus, Metropolitan Medical Center, and PruLife UK. He's currently taking his Doctor of Business Administration at the at the Ateneo de Davao University and his Juris Doctor degree at the Arellano University School of Law, while being the review director of Met Review Center Calabarzon branch, teaching social sciences to applicants of the board licensure examination for professional teachers. Wow, grabe no? Ang daming credentials at talaga namang bigatin ng ating next speaker. So everyone, let us give a warm welcome to the author of the book Managerial Economics in the 21st Century, CPA Christian Elegius A. Jimenez. Sir, good morning and congratulations po.
Hi, good morning, and good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you for that introduction. And with that, let me just share my screen. All right. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the launching of Managerial Economics in the 21st Century. I am your author. I'm Christian Jimenez. You may call me Chris. And today I'll be sharing with you the contents of the book, as well as some of my inspiration and credentials relative to this subject. So without further ado, I would just like to show the profile or my profile. And I think the introduction earlier was pretty comprehensive as regards to this. So these are some of the universities where I've taught, and I'm currently taking my Doctor of Business Administration in the Ateneo de Davao University. I'm currently the head and proprietor for OrgDev International, which is an international training company, business consultancy as well. And you may check their website at www.orgdevph.com. So without further ado, all right. So these are the chapters of managerial economics textbook. Now, as compared to other textbooks, my focus is not just on the business side of things when it comes to managerial economics, but what I am actually harnessing as regards to this reference would be decision making, right? Because at the end of the day, content base, I mean, knowledge of economics would not translate into something relevant and significant if it will not be used in decision making. And so the very first chapter would focus on the economic way of thinking, which is all about adopting these principles and translating them into reality. So we look at current events, we look at data, we look at different organizations and national economic programs of the different countries, not only in Asia, but globally. So, of course, at the heart and the core of any economic subjects would be chapter 2 and chapter 3 would be demand and supply, as well as elasticity, and of course, its applications. So, we are not just focusing on formula here, we're not just computing here, but basically, we try as much as possible to translate these computations into something concrete, right? So we also have chapter 4, consumer behavior, of course, in terms of decision making as a business, as an entity. You focus on how consumers, buyers, right, decide and conceptualize as regards to what they really wanted in terms of preferences and satisfaction. We have revenue and cost of production. For chapter 5, we do not focus on accounting profit here because what we're actually familiar with would be sales minus expenses would be equal to net income. As regards to revenue and cost of production, in terms of economics, this will be a different take on that. And I'm really excited for you to check that out. That would be under chapter 5, right? Now, looking at it globally, now we look at the macro feature. We look at the bigger picture here. We look at market structures, right? So we've been used to hearing about monopoly, oligopoly. So we also have monopsony here, oligopsony here, examples for these different market structures, right? Measuring national income. So hopefully at the end of chapter 7, you would be able to familiarize yourselves as to how the government arrives at GDP or GNP. What are the things that they consider? What are the factors that contribute to the productivity of a nation, right? And if we can assess if the Philippines is doing well as regards to its economy, right? So we also have money and monetary policy. So we also look at how the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the central bank, tries to regulate money supply as part of its mandate as the Central Bank of the Philippines. We also have basic finance. So we will have a refresher here as regards to the basics of time value of money in relation to how it is being applied to business and economics. So we have fiscal policy and public expenditure, how the decisions of the government affects not only private entities, the businesses and companies, but the nation or the country in general. So we also have economic issues. Now, these are the pressing issues that we are facing right now. We have inflation, we have remittances, we have foreign currency or exchange rates. We have topics related to business cycles. So ito yung mga sinasabi na recession. You've heard about recession, depression, peak, and expansion. Now, these things that are happening around us are reflected and may be analyzed using the topics discussed in chapter 11. And last but not the least, we go global. We go macroeconomics with trade, globalization, and the international company. Now, we just don't confine ourselves with APEC, ASEAN, the regional initiatives, but we also look at World Trade Organization, we look at the World Bank, and have a glimpse of these organizations which contributes to the operations of our economy. Now, the book's salient features includes, first, like what I've mentioned earlier, it does not only confine itself with business-related topics, but also expands your understanding by providing you with a good foundation at the onset, at the beginning chapters, right? And expands thereof to taxation, topics such as finance and banking, and even investments. So you would be able to familiarize yourselves with those topics. Also, in terms of economic issues, we take into consideration current events. So the book gives examples from the time of even back at the time of Marcos Sr. up to the time of President Rodrigo Duterte. So economic reforms, initiatives, and even agrarian reform in the process are being tackled and discussed in the different chapters of the book. It gives us data coming from the World Bank, right? In terms of analyzing the different happenings around us, economically speaking. And each chapter has end of chapter activities where we can apply these activities. So, teachers, professors out there, these are what do you call this? PETA friendly activities. So, meaning they can actually they can cut out those pages without affecting the contents of the modules or the chapters and submit it as part of the requirements once we go face to face. And yeah, basically these features are compared and benchmarked with other existing textbooks. So they become competitive not only in terms of its price, but also in terms of its content, right? So later on, probably we will be able to see some updates once the new administration is able to concretize some of their economic plans and initiatives, right? Because these current events related to economics are continuously changing, updating, and one action may not always translate to one result. So yeah, on my end, my inspiration would be, I've heard this before, and there are three ways for you to live forever, right? So how do you live forever? You plant a tree, you teach, and you write a book, right? So I was able to plant a tree, to teach, and to write a book, and hopefully, yeah, I think I would be able to live forever in the hearts and minds of my students. Cliche as it may sound, but for you to be able to significantly contribute to society by molding these future entrepreneurs, professionals, career men and women, Filipinos of this country, that is something that really inspires me to write a book and continue being an educator. And I think you would be able to observe there that these are students that I had, whether it's with TESDA, the university, senior high school. I've also been a consultant to DepEd and to the Department of Transportation. I've been a trainer and professor in the academe for more than 10 years. And I can say that indeed, education is understanding relationships. And this textbook somehow, hopefully, would be able to establish, for me to be able to establish my relationship with my readers, to the public, those future professionals and economists of our country. Now, who are the target users, right? So I am not confining this to accounting or business students taking managerial economics as a subject. So I also refer to this. I would also recommend this to students taking micro and macroeconomics. In fact, my students from PNU are actually using this as their textbook when they're taking micro or macroeconomics under me, because the point of view in this textbook again is not confined with the entrepreneur side, but also in the social science side of things, making your understanding broader as compared to just focusing on one industry. So it can also be used in senior high school, taking applied economics, being a part of the gas and ABM strands, right? And some other strands in senior high school. And last but not the least, those who would like to take it for prospective students or those who just wanted to familiarize themselves with economic point of views and lessons, especially if it's not their undergraduate courses, but these are the ones that they are doing in their present job. So you may use this as reference as well, because as much as possible, I try to laymanize the examples. I try to make it relatable, right? Ones that you actually see in your everyday life and encounter among, the people in your community. So yeah, so these are the people who may actually utilize the textbook. Quite broad as compared to the topic that it just focuses on in its title. And yeah, so just a quick backdrop of the contents of the book. It's managerial economics in the 21st century. Now, as stated at the back of the book, it's entitled 21st century because it discusses contemporary issues. It covers current events and even the economic initiatives of the different administrations up to the time of our previous president, PRRD. So this is under economics, and yeah, it covers junior, senior, college students, and even postgraduate students and career men and women who would like to, learn more about economics. Yeah, so basically that's it, right? So I hope I was able to give you a brief overview of the textbook. I hope I was able to let you see the value of its contents and how it distinguishes itself from all the other managerial economics textbooks out there. So again, good morning, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
All right, thank you for that. And congratulations, CPA Christian Jimenez. Sir, meron lang po tayong mga questions in here.
Sure.
Ayan. You mentioned na the book also targets yung mga micro and macroeconomic students a while ago, no? Senior high schools taking up applied economic subject. And for those who just want to be familiarized with the economic concepts and terms. Sir, the question is, may the textbook be also used to supplement reviewers for social science major and for management accounting in the licensure exams?
Oh, that's a good question because indeed, I can say, and I'm proud to say that at the onset, even in the soft launch of the textbook, some reviewees of LET, that's the licensure examination for teachers, and the CPA board exam has been referring to it since economics is already part of their board exam subjects. So that's how what do you call this? How relevant, how what do you call this, reliable are the contents, right? They expand to cover not only one discipline or industry, but indeed it may be applicable and used for these different courses.
All right, that's really good and really interesting. How about those taking postgraduate studies in MBA or MPA? Can they also refer to our textbook, sir?
Yes, definitely. That's also a reference textbook for MBA and MPA courses. So for MBA, that's Master in Business Administration, and MPA would be Master in Public Administration. So it exposes the readers not only to the private entities, not only to businesses or corporate world, but also to the government service. So they would like to apply economics in terms of public service. It is also something that they can use as their reference.
Okay, so talagang pwedeng-pwede, no? Kumbaga,
Mm-mm.
anyone can use your book as a reference. Now, Professor, you mentioned that the textbook includes current events, no? And you also mentioned that there are discussions during the administration of President Duterte. Can you give us just an overview of what these topics or discussions are?
Yes, it actually touch bases on the build program. It even goes back to the economic goals of the Arroyo administration, and it analyzes the initiatives that were implemented by then President Ferdinand Marcos. So we would be able to have a glimpse on how each one of these administrations translate their policies as to how it can actually help the economy and what was the result of these initiatives that they have implemented in their respective administration.
Wow, that's really nice, no? Especially parang yung karamihan sa atin naabutan natin yung administration ng Arroyo, dumaan tayo sa
Mm-mm.
Aquino, no, Duterte, and then we're back sa panibagong administration. Very
That's right.
interesting book. I hope everyone will get a copy of that really soon. So again, Professor Jimenez, thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you, Albert. And again, everyone, have a wonderful weekend.
You too, sir. Have a great day. All right. Pa-exciting ng pa-exciting, no? Ang mga nilo-launch natin na book. So, without further ado, let us now proceed to our next author and presenter. Okay, so he's a former dean, okay, of the Institute of Accounts, Business and Finance of the Far Eastern University, Manila. He is a certified public accountant with extensive experience in the tourism industry, holding senior positions in local and multinational companies like Dusit, Hyatt, Carlson Group, Four Seasons, and Transpacific, among others. He engages in consultancy projects and conducts training courses. He was part of the international team of consultants who drafted the National Tourism Development Plan of the Philippines for 2011 to 2016. He was also engaged by the Asian Development Bank to develop and implement a knowledge and experience sharing platform on heritage tourism for the tourism ministries of India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan. He was a three-time business planning world champion coach in Harvard University's Entrepreneurial Idol of the World competition and the JCI Best Business Plans of the World competition in Austria. He holds a degree in Master in Business Administration Honors Program from Trinity College Dublin, an Ivy League school in Ireland. He is also a multi-awarded academician and writer, has traveled to 52 countries and 63 provinces in the country, and is a sought-after resource person in local and international conferences, academic lectures, and corporate seminars. Everyone, let us give a warm welcome to the author of the Heritage Tourism book, Dean Danny Araneta Cabulay. Good morning, Dean, and congratulations on launching your book.
Good morning, Albert. I'm not launching my heritage tourism book today, but it's
All right.
actually I think my fourth book, Accounting Research Methods. Okay?
Okay. Sorry about that. But yeah,
This is
congratulations still, Dean.
anyway. Okay, let's begin. Okay. Maayong buntag, naimbag nga bigat kada kayo amin. Maayong aabak, assalamualaikum. This is how I greet my fellow Filipinos, especially the educators who are listening today, as well as students and practitioners. I'm here to present to you my latest book, Accounting Research Methods. Okay? So, as introduced earlier, I've done so much in my career and in my entire life, and it's an open book, no? So I think it's about time that I give back to society, and writing books has become my passion. I think it's going to be my retirement passion. I retired early because I had uh, health constraints when I was in my middle age, but now I'm back to being healthy. But now I'm ready to write many books for Rex Publishing. So, my latest book, Accounting Research Methods, is actually a very concise book that talks about how to research the proper way. Many teachers are very confused. Ano ba ang pinagkaiba ng accounting research methods as a course and accountancy research? Yes, that's another course. There are two titles in the curriculum for BS Accountancy, Internal Auditing, Financial Management, and Management Accounting. You know, the difference is very simple. Kapag ikaw ay nagre-research for academic purposes, like the way the teachers do their research to earn their MBAs, or it's used for scholarly purposes, that is accounting research methods. So ang tinuturo natin diyan, yung accounting form, yung research format na pang thesis, na pang dissertation. Okay? Pero pag accountancy research, that's another book I've written, that is for practitioners. Yan yung ginagamit ng mga consultants, ng mga auditors, at ng mga iba pang mga business professionals. So you see the difference? One is for industry consumption, and the other one is for academic and scholarly purposes. So this book is for school purposes, okay? So there are 8 chapters. We'll talk about the nature of accounting research, what it's all about. Then we segue immediately into the first chapter of writing your research. What is the problem you want to solve, and review of related studies and literature. Then we go into research methodology, how to analyze and present findings, and then research conclusions and recommendations, and then the research outputs, because sometimes your research will require a physical or a tangible output. How do you come up with it? Okay. Then other details, and then presentation report and research report and presentation. How do you write your report and how do you present it? Okay. Now, why did I write this book? Well, tatlo lang naman ang inspiration ko. The previous speakers have their own inspiration for writing a book, but for me, I have 3. Number 1, I always believe that educators and institutions have a responsibility to society and to their stakeholders, particularly their customers, the students. They have to inculcate to their students the true purpose of research. Ang nangyayari kasi, many teachers, many students, they do research, they engage in research, they write research for compliance purposes. Ang mga teachers nagre-research para magkaroon ng MBA, para magka-master's degree, para magka-doctorate, para ma-promote, para lumaki ang sweldo. It's simply for compliance. And the same thing is for students. Students only finish their research studies to earn a grade, para pumasa, to graduate. That's all. Nakakalungkot isipin yon. Because the true purpose of research is that research is meant to solve problems. So the design of research is that it should address issues and concerns in society, in industry, in business, and in our organizations. Yun dapat ang ating iniisip. So it's all about solving problems. Okay? So it's a tool. So yun ang gusto kong ma-inculcate sa mga tao, sa mga educators, sa mga students, what is the real purpose of research? The second inspiration is because in this day and age with, digital, we are in the digital era, there's this rampant proliferation of trolling, disinformation, and fake news. And people believe all this stuff, all this garbage. Research is about searching the truth, fact finding. Everything in research is based on facts. So we would like to go back to honest to goodness research. Okay, so through this book of mine, I hope that students will be able to form within their mindset critical thinking and good analysis, etc. No? So marami silang matutunan at values when they read the book. And finally, my biggest inspiration is because I've been blessed as a professional, as an accountant, as a manager, as a business owner, as a person, as a friend. So I have a huge network of friends and colleagues. And I've been blessed with so many gifts. Para sa akin, hindi ko madadala sa hukay itong mga gifts na to. I believe it is my responsibility and it's my passion to share it with people, with others, because I think that is the purpose why God put me here on earth. Okay, so I think I am compelled and I'm very passionate about sharing all these talents to the next generation, so we can build this country to a better place, bring this country to a better place. We can rebuild our economy. We can come up with world-class Filipinos, professionals. Okay. Now, this book is very easy to read with only 208 pages. You can finish this in one trimester, maybe 8 to 10 weeks, and there's plenty of time for, madalas kasi suspended ang classes, mga holidays, etc. So within 8 weeks, you can finish this book. So there's plenty of slack time. Okay, so for people to do their asynchronous versus asynchronous sessions. Now, this book is going to be available in all Rex bookstore outlets and also other major bookstores. No? So what is the benefit in using this book? This is, aside from it being easy to read, no, it will involve a lot of practical approaches wherein the students will be engaged in independent study and develop their competencies. The price is very reasonable, very affordable. It's much cheaper than the week load allowance of a student. Okay, this book will allow students to get immersed in research. There is also a teacher's kit, no? May complimentary ang isang teacher, may PowerPoint presentation slides para sa kanya, meron siyang test and activity bank, complete with rubrics. It eliminates the time-consuming preparation for lesson plans, etc. And more importantly, this book is espousing an outcomes-based as well as a phenomenon-based learning approach. Meaning, they will probably pass the board exam, or maybe they will be able to solve problems during their entire career because they have a good foundation. Okay, so that is like a guide that they will always have. So pag bumili ka ng libro na to, kahit professional ka na, you can still use it as a reference. Now, how should teachers teach accounting research methods? First, the first 4 chapters can be covered until the midterm, and then the last 4 chapters will be until the finals. Okay, the shorter chapters can be completed within 1 week, but the longer ones may be completed within 2 weeks. Okay, each chapter is summarized. All the lessons there are summarized at the end of the chapter. There are guide questions which the teachers can use for recitation purposes. Hindi ka na magpo-formulate ng questions kasi nandiyan na, it's all given. There are plenty of exercises and case studies that can be answered either individually or in teams, maybe online or face-to-face classes. It allows students to engage in internet research. Maraming case studies sa book na will require the students to go to the internet and research. Alam niyo, yung mga batang gustong-gusto nila magkaroon ng excuse to go to the internet and really surf, no, and find out. Of course, kasama na dun yung Facebooking at saka panonood ng YouTube videos, okay? For example, this is an opening case in one of the chapters. It talks about how a 5-star hotel in the Philippines shut down because of the COVID pandemic. And there are questions that will be asked the students that they can answer in essay form. So this could be a recitation, this could be a class discussion, or it could be an assignment. It's really up to the teacher. It gives a lot of elbow room for the teachers to make use of the case studies in whatever manner they want. Okay? Now, There are plenty of internet case studies and exercises that can be used, familiar companies, familiar both here and abroad. No? So most of the cases here are very relatable. Kasi kung minsan, di ba, pag nagbabasa tayo ng American books, the companies that are mentioned in the cases, we're not too familiar with them. They're kind of strange. No? We have to Google them first. No? But here in this book, the companies that I used here are very, very familiar. They're within the public domain. They're researchable. And they're big cases. No? So this is something that the students will be able to relate and enjoy. So at the end of the day, I hope that you will patronize Philippine authored books like those published by Rex. And secondly, I hope that I could interact and engage with many of your schools. I'm open to invitation if you need speakers to elucidate some of the topics. That's fine. You just have to contact Rex if you need to invite me or any of the other authors. Okay. So I'm ready for your questions. I'm very happy to launch my book today. Daghang salamat. Maraming salamat sa inyong pakikinig. Thank you.
Wow, napakaganda nun. Thank you very much, Dean Danny, Araneta Kabulay, and again, congratulations. Sir, you know what? What I loved about your discussion is that you mentioned that research is a good endeavor, which is true, no? Because we have to seek answers and solutions to problems that are prevalent and evident in our society right now. And you also mentioned your whys, no? Kung bakit natin ginawa itong book na to. Number one, because we want the stakeholders to really benefit, no? This is our social responsibility. And what I like most is that the importance of searching for the truth and fact finding, because sir, you're right, no, marami ngayong misinformation and disinformation, kaya naman we really have to harness the students critical thinking skills. And ang pinaka noble sa lahat is of course the sharing of the blessing and the gift of knowledge. Ayan, totoo naman, no? Kung meron tayong ito, bakit hindi natin ibigay, no? I-pass on sa mga next generations para they can also learn, no, from our wisdom. I love it. Now, sir, you mentioned that this book has practical approach so that students can engage in independent study and practice essential competencies. Sir, can you give us just a quick rundown or an overview of yung mga topics ba na talagang they can apply practical approaches? So can you give us an example po aside from the Marco Polo case?
Okay, for example, there are cases in the book that pertain to Philippine setting, like for example, the PhilHealth scandal. No, it's good to study what really happened to the PhilHealth scandal. So the information that they can get are maybe the hearings from the Senate. They can also look at records of PhilHealth, which is actually publicly available. So they can now gauge, no, exactly what is the problem that they want to solve. For example, there are so many problems related to, say, PhilHealth, because that is actually taxpayers' money. All employees actually contribute, no? Kinakaltasan tayo sa mga sweldo natin about on PhilHealth, no? So hoping na kung tayo ay magkasakit, meron tayong madudukot, tayo ay ma-hospital, PhilHealth can shoulders bulk of the expenses, hospitalization and doctor's fees, etc. No? So kung halimbawa merong scandal na ganyan, how does that impact to ordinary people like us? Okay? So yun, magkakaroon sila ng critical thinking. And then why is it happening? So they will have to understand the root cause of that. Of course, there will be a format for a scholarly research. Yun ang ituturo ng libro sa kanila. But then again, it will provide them ways to answer those questions. No? Why is PhilHealth so corrupt? What was the modus operandi? How can it be prevented? Those kinds of issues need to be put out in the open so we can live a better society. We can have a better government. We can have a better country. Okay? So that's an example of a case that is mentioned in the book.
All right, grabe, no? Napaka-ano niyan, napaka-interesting and very thought-provoking. Pag sinabi mo pa lang na PhilHealth scandal, talagang parang, oh my gosh, parang gusto ko na to talagang basahin at i-analyze and do my own research about it. All right. So
There is
hopefully,
another, Albert, there's another example that is
yes.
probably more relatable because I mentioned some case studies there about micro enterprises. Kasi marami akong mga naging estudyante na graduate na way back at sila ay nagtayo ng mga negosyo. So obviously, they were able to come up with business plans, feasibility studies, but they were able to use their, kasi ang basis ng kanilang business plan, yung kanilang school project. Kasi when I was dean in FEU, ginagawa namin sila ng mga projects, mga research. At yung mga research projects nila, they were able to execute them. So, ginawa kong example sa libro ko, yung mga scholarly works ng mga estudyante ko nung araw na they were able to commercialize their research projects. So, makikita nyo doon na I think I mentioned 3 to 4 of my former students who were able to commercialize their school projects. So, that's academic research na naging commercial. So, ngayon, yung isa sa kanila may-ari na ng isang restaurant, yung isa sa kanila may-ari na ng isang resort, okay? Yung isa sa kanila may-ari na ng isang pawn shop, etc., etc. So again, that's an example of research that is not gathering dust in the library. That's research in action. Research implemented. So nagkakaroon ng value yung research. Kasi pag ang research for compliance sake lang, para lang makagraduate sa MBA, para lang makatapos ng kolehiyo, para lang magkaroon ng grade, the output, the ring-bound or the hard-bound copies of the research is just put in the library to gather dust. How many people actually read them? That's a big question, right? So yun. So pinakita ko yun sa libro na, hey, even school research, yung pinapagawa sa mga estudyante, pwede palang maging negosyo. Yung mga research ng mga teachers na pine-present nila sa mga conferences, pwede pala siyang i-implement talaga. So it's not about being idealistic, but it's about being having this self-efficacy that you can actually do it. You can actually make it work. You can show the whole world that your research is valuable and implementable. Kasi iba, meron pa nga best research, may mga award na ganyan, no? Ina-awardan pa sa best research, hindi naman na-implement. Okay? So that's nothing. That's useless. That's irrelevant, okay? Maganda lang siyang basahin, pero hindi pala siya practicable. Hindi pala siya implementable. So that's the proof of the pudding if you can implement your research. Okay? So yun ang binigay kong example to motivate people that research should be alive, should be used. Okay? But first you have to write well. Okay? You have to write the research well. Okay?
That's right. Totoo yun, Di, no? Dapat talaga marunong tayo magsulat, no? Maayos, maalam tayo dun sa topic. And as you mentioned, no, this is really a good way to push the students to do research, apply it, and see results in the future, no? Napakaganda. So, the former dean of FEU IABF. Thank you so much, Dean Danny Araneta Cabulay. And
Bye.
congratulations, sir. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, now on to our next book. Our author and next presenter is a professor, a researcher, a consultant, and a licensed professional teacher of social sciences with a well-documented record of accomplishment in business administration and higher education. His highlights include years of work experience in several industries, namely information and communications technology firms, and higher educational institutions in the Philippines, the Kingdom of Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates. He is a trainer for the Systems Applications and Products, or SAP, in Bahrain's data processing of the enterprise resource planning, and he has been active in project management and business economics conferences in Bahrain, UAE, Japan, and Indonesia. He is well versed with the European Council for Business Education and Accreditation Council for Business Schools Programs accreditations for working closely with them as a project manager for quality assurance. He also trained for business incubation in Turkey and is proficient with economic models used in finance, business, and business administration. He also has teaching and research experience at the undergraduate and graduate levels in the Philippines, the Kingdom of Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates. Now, at present, he He teaches global economic analysis and economic analysis for managers and executives, among others, in the graduate school of the Centro Escolar University system. Furthermore, he teaches at the Graduate School of St. Mary's University in Nueva Vizcaya and the College of Commerce of the University of San Agustin in Iloilo. He is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Accountancy cum laude at the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila. Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Social Sciences cum laude at the Arellano University, Manila. Master of Management major in Business Administration at the University of the Philippines, Manila, and Doctor of Business Administration at the Lyceum Northwestern University with a dissertation focused on financial risk management for real estate companies. He's well adept in the function of community engagement and once headed this department in an international university in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Now, everyone, let us give a warm welcome to the author of the Economic Development, Dr. Emerson G. Cabudal. Sir, good morning and congratulations on launching your book.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Before I begin, sorry, I would like to thank the management of Rex for giving me the opportunity to write the book. And everyone at Rex, Angel, Jonna, Giselle, of course, I would like to thank Dr. JP Rivera of the Asian Institute of Management, all of my colleagues, and my mentors, all the institutions that I have worked with, the deans, the teachers who are here right now. So let me share my slides. Okay. All right. The book is basically a product of a multidisciplinary research. In fact, my inspiration comes from all the researchers in the field of business, sociology, education, economics. Your unceasing desire to uncover the truth in the midst of misinformation and disinformation led me to write this economic development book, and let this continue to inspire the author to sharing lang naman of all the researchers to dissect concepts in economics, so that our future generation are inspired to do something better, so that the quality of life be better, be less costlier, or be be faster. This book is of course in the glory of God. I think I have been introduced, so this is fine. Let's go to the next one. The field of development economics examines the application of both micro and macro concepts to the growth of a developing country. It focuses on socioeconomic issues of poverty, standard of living, agriculture, rural development, industrialization, labor markets, financial systems, taxation, global trade, FDIs, FA, remittances, education, health, cooperatives, SEDs, and peacekeeping, which basically are the vital, chapters of the book. The features of the first edition of the book are the fundamental theories evaluating rationalities of the principles to ultimately be used as a basis of policymaking, whether in the private or public sectors, may be used in businesses and also in public administration. It highlights the basic issues of economic development as a precursor to higher economics or policymaking decisions. The industries that impact economic development, such as these are the cases that are uh, included in the book: agriculture, construction, manufacturing, mining, public services, transport, and utilities. There are 335 pages, medyo marami siya. There are 16 chapters. The primary market of the book are the accountancy and business management, business administration students. Secondary market are those in the social sciences and graduate studies, like masters in public administration and masters in development economics. Uh, the book follows the Commission on Higher Education memorandum on the subject economic development, which is one of the required courses under the BSPA and BSA curriculums. All right. It discusses the 17 SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations. We are very much fortunate that the UN ILO has given the author full copyright to use all SDGs in the book. It's an outcome-based exercises and activities. OBE approach is used throughout the exercises as well as the end chapters. Examinations at the end of each chapter. What else? Use of updated exercises like a TikTok video activity. I know that we are all, very much into this application. And summary is in a map format rather than a paragraph. There are a lot of examples in the Philippine context. These are the 16 chapters of the book. The first eight may be discussed in the first half of the term, whether that is semestral or trimestral, and the second eight chapters are intended to be discussed in the second half of the term. The basic features of the book. So each chapter has all of these parts: expectations, the learning objectives, looking back, sort of a connector from the previous chapter to the current chapter, an introduction to start the lesson, like a springboard. The lessons actually are the meat of the chapter. Message received is like an interview with a question and answer interview that is, in letters format, of a with an expert in that particular chapter. Activity, these are performance tasks that are inside the chapter. Remember is actually a mind map. I have mentioned this earlier. So instead of a paragraph, I have put it in a mind map so that the students and the teachers can easily remember the chapter. Chapter exercises, this is at the end of the chapter. Reflective discussion may be done outside of the class, and of course the references, sources that was considered by the author. Special thank you, and partners of the book are the following. We have all of these partners have given us their copyrights and their trust and confidence to to explain their side of the economic development concept, and they're all in the book. Special thank you to Sir VQ, the director, Mr. Ronnie Serkinia, for giving us their case study in one of the social development um, cases of the book. Of course, we have the government um, agencies like the PSA, the Cooperative Development Authority, and the NEDA. Special thank you for the message received. These are, the question and answer, the interview portion of each chapter. These are the names and where they're coming from. Thank you very much for everybody. This is like from across all countries around the world. So these are my friends. Okay, what differentiates economic development book by Rex to other books? These are some. Basically, we have the SDG application. So we're given the copyright of the United Nations DESA for the use of the SDG application. We've been talking a lot about SDG and how it is applied in the different aspects of economic development in the Philippines as well as in other countries. It follows the CHED. Basically, a lot of information and a lot of cases are written under the COVID-19 pandemic, because this was given to me, the task was given to me in 2019. I have started writing it in 2020. Just like what was mentioned earlier, economics is an ongoing social science and social issue. It's changing by the day, so we are hoping that this will be updated in the our upcoming editions of the book. It is hoped that the book inspires the readers to recommend concrete solutions and instruments in positive changes in the field of labor markets, financial systems, cooperative social enterprises, and peace development. Totoo sa misyon ng Rex, pagpapatibay ng kakayahan para sa bata, paglinang ng kagalingan para sa mamamayan at pag-unlad ng tao at kalikasan para sa bayan. Maraming salamat po. Ito po yung economic development book.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing that with us, Dr.
Thank
Emerson
you.
G. Cabudo, and
Thank you, Albert.
congratulations. Yeah,
Salamat
sir,
po.
no? Very, very quick question lang po. Kasi parang minention nyo na rin kanina how the book is different from other textbooks in the market. You also mentioned that the context, no, of the book was formed during the pandemic. Okay.
Yes.
So ano po ba yung parang pwede nating i-expect, no? Yung kumbaga yung pinaka-highlight ng book so that our readers will be very much keen to read on them.
So, first, we are still under the pandemic. So the pandemic is not yet finished. So basically, all the cases are applicable right now. Another thing that characterizes this book is the use of the Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations. So if you're going to, for most of the teachers here, you know that you've heard about this in various seminars, webinars, trainings, etc. on SDG. So here, formalized na ang apply SDG in the different aspects of economic development. Another thing is the use of researches. So research, I've used a lot of researches that were published in different referee journals that is used in this textbook. So this may be used by also, of course, the graduate school.
Okay, that's really good to know. And correct, no? We are still on a pandemic right now. So very good, sir. Parang talagang pwede nilang i-apply, no? Very timely
Saka
pala
one
to.
more thing pala, Albert, yung mga
Sige.
exercises, ang mga exercises niya ay up to date. The application like TikTok, the use of TikTok and other applications are up to date. Maybe, used actually yung mga rubrics, just like what Dean earlier said. May mga rubrics na doon, may mga instruction for the professors, may key answers. We have provided all of them for the professors who are listening right now and who are watching us.
All right, that's really good, no? Para talagang may appeal sa mga ano natin, sa mga Gen Zs at mga upcoming
Yes.
generations. Now, sir, this book is really promising. Now, what would be your plan for the book, no? A few years from now, ano yung plan natin for the book?
Our plan is to update all the information that the current administration, Marcos Jr., will be implementing in terms of economic development. So what is written in the book are all of those product of the all the projects and programs of the previous administration, including PRRD. So we are going to update that in the future as we experience the projects and the programs of the new administration.
All right. We will
And
surely be
also
keen. Yeah.
the impact of the international decisions and programs like the United Nations, DESA, etc.
Correct. Okay, so sir, we will surely be keen to know the updates on your book. So again, thank you very much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Emerson Cabudol, no, and congratulations po
Thank you
again.
very much, Albert, and thank you very much, Rex.
Maraming salamat, sir. All right, that's it for our 2022 book launch and webinar for Business and Accountancy. Please send your hearts and congratulatory messages to our authors on the launch of their books. Their books are now available in Rex Bookstore branches nationwide and online at estore.rex.com.ph. Now, speaking of online, Rex Education books can now be delivered at your doorstep. Ordering can now be easy as one, two, three. Number one, you just have to search for the book. Number two, add to cart. And number three, check out. Ayan. So for your learning solution needs, just visit the QR code on your screen which leads to Rex eStore. So scan na natin to, no? Pwede na natin siyang picturean for future purchases sa Rex eStore. Okay, now to be updated on the announcements about the free delivery and online vouchers, just make sure that you are following the Rex Education official social media accounts that will be flashed on your screen. Okay, so now, as promised, we will be providing e-certificates to all the attendees of today's event. As presented in the mechanics, to get your e-certificates, you must be able to accomplish the feedback form, which is now pinned in the comment section of our FB live stream and YouTube stream, and is also in the chat box of our Zoom webinar. Now, the feedback form will be available until 1 p.m. only today. So, no, please make sure na matapos nyo na to, masagutan na, ma-accomplish na before the end of the program para naman makuha talaga natin ang ating e-certificates. Again, the feedback form is now pinned in the comment section of our FB live stream and YouTube stream, and is also in the chat box of our Zoom webinar. All right. Now, may we invite the General Manager for Career, Livelihood, and Vocation of Rex Education, Mr. Reginald Victor Soriano, for his closing remarks. Sir Reggie?
Hi, Albert. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear po.
Thank you. Thank you, Albert. Thank you for the introduction. A pleasant good day to each and every one of you, our special guests here, our esteemed faculty, our learners. In behalf of the Rex family, with the opening remarks done by our Chief External Affairs, Ms. Nata Imelda Buhayin. Of course, our opening speaker, Professor Roberto Dacanay, who gave a very, very special and wonderful speech, and more importantly, a lot of learnings and insights. But more to the point, to all the authors that has joined us today, again, a pleasant good day, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts for giving us this opportunity to be able to be part of this great sharing of information, this knowledge. As you know, Rex always strives and endeavors to be part of the learner's journey from the time he or she was born up until the time that they so-called retire. No, our intention here is to be part of that journey, to be a part of the lifelong journey of every person in the Philippines and probably the world, so that we can enable you to achieve your dreams and be able to be part of being a productive member of society. Right now, you heard a lot of topics that talks about business, and it's very timely. We always think that maybe business is something that I'll never get into, or maybe it's something I would like to look into the forward or in the future. But what we don't realize is that in our everyday lives, we are being touched by business. As consumers, we participate in that. We feel all of these things through inflation, economics, lahat yan nagiging impact sa atin. And especially coming in the last 2 years from the pandemic, this has brought into light all the difficulties we're facing. What will make us future proof, as they say, is for us to be well informed, for us to be well educated, and more importantly, be able to be productive. So here, Rex has endeavored to be part of this journey. In this behalf, again, we would like to thank each and every one of you, our esteemed guests, our learners here, and more importantly, from on behalf of the Rex family, maraming salamat po for being part of this wonderful book launch, and more importantly, we look forward to being of service to you. Good day, thank you, stay safe, God bless.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Reggie Soriano, for your closing remarks, sir. All right. So now here in Rex Education, guys, we just don't want you to learn with us, but also to get a chance to receive amazing prizes from us. So to our audience, no, if you registered in the sign up that we released this week, you can be one of the lucky winners of Rex Education books, Logitech mouse or headphones, Paperang portable printer, and a 3-in-1 Canon printer. O, di ba? Sabi sa inyo, exciting ang mga prizes na ipapamigay natin dito. Kaya naman, in the presence of the DTI representative, Miss Rosila Egmilan, we did the pre-draw of raffle winners for today's event. So thank you very much for witnessing the pre-draw, Miss Rosila Egmilan of the DTI. Okay, so excited namang lahat? I think excited na sila. Kaya naman, let us now announce the winners. On to our first prize. Here are the winners, okay, of the Rex Education books. I-flash na po natin kung sino man sila. Let's see. Okay, congratulations to Elham Pamor Kashef Saberi Quaresma, Cherian Valmores de Fontorum, Ron Allen de los Reyes, Osama Alamada Siaw, and Nico Cordero Nahera. Alright, so pwede nyo na itong screenshot, no? Or picturean nyo na para hindi nyo malimutan at talaga namang ma-identify na kayo ang ating winners. Okay, now on to our next raffle winner. Okay, the winner of a Logitech headphone is none other than Chris Ives Pardinian Lazaga, sorry. Okay, so screenshot na natin. Congratulations. Let's now proceed to the next raffle winner. Okay, so the winner of a Canon 3-in-1 printer is none other than Irene O. Velasco. Congratulations, Irene Velasco. Okay, so I think meron pa, no? Ayan. Ang winner naman ng ating Logitech Bluetooth mouse ay si Jelian May Constantinopla Paras. Okay, Jelian, congratulations. Nanalo ka ng Logitech Bluetooth mouse. Okay, and the winner for Paperang Portable Printer is none other than Mary Vida Lapay Tumbali. Congratulations to you. Ayan, no? Grabe yung mga prizes. Mapapasana all ka na lang talaga. So, congratulations again to our lucky winners. Now, the Rex Education team, don't worry, no? They will get in touch with you using the email address and contact number you shared during the registration. Nandun sa ating registration form ang inyong contact information. Okay, and that's it. We have come to the end of today's program. Indeed, it was a very productive morning with our expert guest speaker and with the Rex Education authors. Now, on behalf of Rex Education, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for having been chosen as your partner in education. We hope that you learned how to keep every business and accountancy students involved and engaged in online learning. We look forward to more years of our fruitful partnership with you. Let us always say yes to learning para sa bata, para sa mamamayan, para sa bayan. Good day and may you enjoy the rest of the afternoon.